sorry for the delay. Welcome to open mic number, where are we at, 235? Yeah, 235. How you doing today, Doc?
Yeah, not too bad, Jack61. I'm still in recovery mode and getting better. But really enjoyed the podcast that we did yesterday, and very informative. And yeah, amazing how you could be on this case for so many years, but you're still learning new stuff.
Hey, think about it. We're coming up on 9 years.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Really enjoying doing the deep dives here. So awesome. Yeah, looking forward to this podcast, the open mic.
Absolutely. And last night it was really good. Hey, there's Christina. Let me get her added in here. Look at there.
Hey.
Shalom. I apologize. I started feeling a little under the weather last night.
Yeah.
And
no problem.
I talked to Susan earlier. I'm thinking for some reason it seems like it started yesterday. When it gets dark out, I don't feel good, but it's not compared to what my sister had and what you had. I'm fine, but I'm also not wanting to experience that either. So
definitely not.
No doubt.
But the podcast was amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was great.
Yep.
Yeah. Definitely a ripper.
Mm-hmm.
Ripper, I should say.
Ripper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A ripper.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of Ripper, have you heard from wasn't that his name? What was dude's name?
Ripperjack.
Ripperjack.
Yeah, I talked to him once or twice last week. We're actually he asked me to participate in it's just going to be Manham, I guess, talking about some of the newer cases. I mean, I told him I'd do it, but basically from, a state, look what they're doing kind of thing, corruption or whatever you want to call it, because of our experience, our deep experience with the Avery and Dassey cases. So I told him I would.
Awesome.
We were actually going to do it last week, but last week was Thanksgiving and all that, so decided to wait a week. And so anyway, yeah, I'll talk to him. Haven't talked to him much lately, but here and there we text each other and just catch up right quick. But he's been busy with other things in his life, and I get it. Not to say that he's not paying attention to the Carol Reed cases and stuff like that. So kind of like we are, but he's got his own thing going with his mushrooms and all that.
Well, he's got a bunch of property.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I know just from the small amount of property that I have that it takes a lot of time if you're going to try and make it workable. You've got to be very wise with that's something that I'm working on now, is being very intentional about like where I put my time. And even though I'm not married, I'm in the middle of a divorce. So that's fun.
No,
I can only imagine.
Yeah. So, and I'm having to navigate that and extricate myself in a way where, you don't want to cause people trauma, but at the same time, you've got to set healthy boundaries where you're not being manipulated or taken advantage of. Honestly, at the end of the day, he's going to make it my fault, because until he decides that, his life is his life and he's responsible for his choices, he's going to just continue to make excuses, right?
Well, and that's what so many do. We've seen it just in,
I mean, look at Kratz. Yeah. look at Ken Kratz. Avery made him a pillhead. You gotta love it.
Right.
You know?
But you have to admit, this case has taken so many prisoners. Literally, the Avery and Dassey cases, the amount of fallout that's occurred to a lot of the so-called principal actors, and it's continuing to take place, is just staggering. Really, really staggering. The toll is huge. I don't even think it's finished yet. It's still continuing.
No. I'm gonna say this. So I'm in recovery. I've been part of the recovery community for many years, and one of the first, we call them slogans, right? One of the first ones that stuck in my head is, "We're only as sick as our secrets." Okay. Because that's how you stay in addiction, or you stay in abusive relationships, or you stay surrounded by people who don't have your best interest, because you're all keeping secrets for one another. And it weighs on you. It truly does. So I just ripped the Band-Aid off and let her rip, because I know that sunlight is going to make it better,
That's right. It's the best. It's the best disinfectant.
That's right. And so the devil likes the dark. So I'm a child of the light, plain and simple. And that's just what works for me. And I think that's what a lot of these guys are dealing with, is their conscience is eating at them. And so,
it's also sorry, Sunshine. It's also the scrutiny. Okay. It's also the scrutiny that none of them would have expected. Kratz, Fallon, Garn, all of them, they never would have thought.
And now Remaker, Doc.
Correct. Yeah, none of them would have thought that there would have been any type of interest in a case like this. But it's garnished universal appeal and also universal scrutiny. It's put a lot of pressure on a lot of the so-called participant and actors. You look at Stephen Avery, Brendan Dassey, they've been under the microscope on a daily basis. And also the main actors, both the attorneys, prosecuting attorneys, defense attorneys, everyone's been placed under the spotlight. Groups like us, our supporters, people everywhere. The amount of scrutiny is just phenomenal. This case has just got this universal appeal.
But here's the thing, Dr. Silkman. I get they were in an echo chamber, right? So, of course, you can build yourself up into believing that you're going to get away with it. But, they had to realize, like, they were really playing, 1 in a million odds. They had already wrongfully convicted him and got caught. They had a couple from New York filming them while they're trying to do it.
That was a
someone had to have been thinking, we're going to get busted. It may not be today. It may not be in 5 years, but God don't like ugly. Plain and simple.
That's why Kratz tried to take their footage.
Exactly. You got it. And Sunshine Christina, you made an incredibly valid point there. The turning point was the film crew. Moira, the other lady as well, Riccardi, coming down, doing the videography, talking to the family. Because I remember, and we all have that experience, right? When we saw Mam, we're going, oh my God, this is happening in real time. It was so bizarre. It was like a soap opera, right? And that sent alarm bells to Mr. Kratz, because he thought that the film crew were working as part of the defense for Stephen. And like Jack 61 said, hey, I want all your footage. I want to know what's going on here. What do you know that I don't know?
Well,
And
I think it's more than that, Dr. Silkman, because the film crew wasn't working for Kratz and
yes,
they weren't in his pocket. By default, in Kratz's mind, they were going to help Stephen Avery because he knew what he was doing was wrong. So his only logical argument would be, you're a arm of the defense because you're not an arm of my prosecution, right? So,
correct.
which is narcissism again.
Yeah.
It's just, go ahead.
I was going to say, this is very much a case that was fought out in the media.
Mhm.
It was media wars, right? The way Kratz, Pagel manipulated the media. And mind you, the media loved it. The media were more than just a willing participant in all of this. But, you know, with a film crew, they've got the power when they're making a documentary. And also there's a lot of responsibility, as you know, being a documentarian, the way you present the narrative and present the story. We saw it, that the counter documentary in convicting a murderer. And it's very interesting now that Jack 61 and the team are doing the open mics presenting the documents.
Mhm.
It's interesting how the state goes, right, that's it. We're going to do a document dump. Don't ask us anymore. We're going to release these documents, put them online. But the problem is what they've done is they censored them.
Well,
They
yeah,
down
and
a lot of stuff.
and there's weird stuff. There's the more that, because, you know, I'm trying to, Jax is kicking my butt, but the more documents that I'm going through trying to help him upload these reports, and, you know, in order and separate it out, the more weirdness I'm seeing, even in the structure of how this was released, Dr. Silkman.
Yep.
Like you can see, or I feel as if you're seeing them periodically going through and making sure there's not something that needs to be filed out. And I suspect if we take a timeline of appeals, the appeal dates and the accessing of this file and this moving, because it keeps traveling around the state. Why is it not in one location and left there? I mean, why are you continue to transfer it from DCI office to DCI office after their convictions? It makes no sense.
Yeah, it's really weird. You'll see this in what Christina said. A number of these reports, you can see that evidence gets shifted. I'm thinking, well, why the hell are you? I mean, unless it's just a plain old storage problem, but some of the stuff is pretty small. You know, you're talking about CDs or DVDs or, you know, something that's pretty small, really.
And then here's something.
And I'm sorry, Christina. This happened years after the cases were done.
Yes.
Years. So,
and then one of the guys, do you remember the Eagle Nation?
Yeah.
Do you remember that shooting, the Eric Cozy?
Yeah.
Okay. Sasse. I don't know how you say his last name. Michael Sasse.
Yeah, Sasse.
He was one of the cops on that case. I knew I'd heard that name. And so I Googled him, and then I did a newspapers.com thing on him. And he was one of the HRT cops, DCI guy, on the Eagle Nations case. And so now I have red flags about anything his hands are on, because I know that case is sketch. And
big time.
Yeah.
They killed that guy.
Yep. And he's got his hands in this case after sentences.
You know, one more thing that I'll add in before we jump in with both feet. Talking about all the various things going on in these two cases, I have to wonder, and we'll never know. We will never know the answer to this question, but you can give your thoughts. And Christine is one that found it out. When they found out in May of 2005 that Minnesota was going after Allen's DNA. Now, this had to ring alarm bells at the top of Wisconsin. Now I'm talking about Peg and, maybe her lieutenants and I don't know how many others. I guess that circle was probably kept pretty tight. How did that steer what happened in those depositions and leading up to the end of October 2005? Because, for me personally, this had to shake the tree hard. Because there's no way they wanted that information out. No way.
No.
I would love to do an off-the-record interview with one of Avery's attorneys for the depositions, just to see if they knew.
Glenn or Kelly?
Yeah.
I don't think they knew.
Because I want to know if they knew. I feel like, I forget which one. I think I spoke to Glenn and I mentioned it and he didn't. Lawyers take acting. So,
sure.
But he didn't seem shocked, but he didn't also, he didn't take the bait. Let's just say that. And I wanted to see if he was going to say, what are you talking about? Or anything like that, but he didn't. But I think if I could get to him in person and speak to him one-on-one, he may talk to me. But I don't think they'll ever talk to anybody on the phone or on a Zoom call because they have to live there, and they can't. You have to be very mindful about who you're, speaking with, especially when it comes to Stephen Avery at this time, and I'm sure they want him out of prison. Because they know he's innocent. And
well, we all know that it was leading up to, Vogel and Kosarik getting on the stand. That was the end of their depositions. And of course, they never got there. So, I think about at that point in time during the deposition period, did Wisconsin authorities become so concerned that something happened, something took place? And I don't want to say that the cops did anything because the Teresa calls this, hey, looky there.
Hey.
Oh, she made it.
Hey, guys.
Yay.
Change of plans.
Change of plans.
There you go. Well, we're just yapping. We've not gotten into any records yet. We're just talking about the case overall. And
Cool.
Again, I just wonder how the entry of Minnesota going after Allen's DNA in May of 2005. What did they do? How did that? Because again, that had to do something, because they let him go. These two guys, Vogel and Kosarik, let this guy go in 85.
Not only did they let him go, they intentionally steered investigations away from prosecuting Allen from the DA standpoint, or minimized and charged him with crimes way below what they could have charged him with to keep the community safe from the sheriff's department standpoint. I personally think that Kosarik and Vogel were going to begin a deposition trail that would have eventually led to Peg L. I think Peg Lautenschlager would have gotten, or at least someone close to her would have been subpoenaed, simply because of how what's a kind term for that DOJ Manitowoc didn't do anything wrong report? That toilet paper.
It was basically whitewashed.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
because even the way Deb Strauss's reports read, there should have been some sort of blame assigned to Manitowoc County for Stephen Avery's conviction, because it's clear that they took great pains to present him as guilty and ignored a lot of evidence that they knew about. And that's just from Peg Lawton's, or from Deb Strauss's report. And so for Peg L's office to try and minimize that, like, how is that acceptable?
Well, at the end of the day, the buck stops with her and her office. Being the Attorney General, she's got to try and deflect, and she's also got to try and diffuse, right? Because ultimately, everything is going to go up the pyramid and directly lead to her. And you can see that now what's happening with Josh Call, her son, who's in the same position, right? It's a very important position of authority. The last thing you want to do is to make your own office look bad. What did Brad Schimmel do? Brad Schimmel did the same thing, because he realized that if Brendan Dassey was released, it's going to reflect on him and his office, right? Because remember, what is he in charge of? Huge office, huge number of resources. So Peg Lockenschlager had to diminish, deflect, diffuse any form of blame, because if there was any form of blame attached, ultimately it'll lead to her and her office, right?
Yep.
We see exactly the same things happening now in the murder of Teresa Horbach. It's basically putting a blanket on Kathleen Zona, her experts. Go away, we're not interested.
Yep.
Accept finality.
Finality.
Right? And
Yep.
you see this all the time. This is not something new, unique, but what you found with Gregory Allen, that's the tipping point. If that got released back then, as the depositions were going on,
Oh my God.
and more victims of Gregory Allen came forward to say, I was attacked, I was essayed, this and this and this. While the depositions were going, could you imagine the tide of sympathy towards Stephen? What happened to Stephen? $36 million, that would have just been the start. Then you probably would have had civil suits going on to say, you, Sarek Vogel, did not protect your constituents in society, and you let out a vicious sexual predator free for 10 years to continue his craft. Where's the justice? So what they had to do is shut it all down. Shut it all down.
Hey, to answer Jamie Hart's question, second week of October, there's a letter attached, and there's links in the description of this open mic that the DOJ decided, because I guess of all the requests they'd gotten for various records, they decided to dump all of the DCI reports. And there's many in here that we don't have, but as Doc said, a lot of them are redacted. But now I'm going to tell you guys what I've done. And when we finally release them, we'll make another announcement. But what I've done, because there are many that we do have already, and we know, like it'll say, like the new one will say, interview, and it'll be redacted. Interview, blah, blah, blah. And it'll be redacted with the new ones. But we have the old records. So I'm naming the PDF file with that name. so at least people will know who they're talking to if we have it. Now, there's been some that we don't have. I'll just have it's just redacted. I don't know who they talk to. So at least we'll have that. Not great. It's not I can't. I'm not gonna. I mean, I could change these PDF files themselves, but I'm not gonna do that because then I'm interfering with it. And I could go in and edit it. I could go in and edit it and add the name in, but
Yeah, that's true. But Jack 61, here's the problem, right? You're a new student to this case.
Yeah.
And you just got the new document dump and you read it and you go,
yeah, what the hell?
Who are they talking about?
That's
Who
right.
who can I follow from one report to another if they've redacted all the names, right? If all the principal actors have been redacted, there's no logical flow in your discovery per se. Because we've got the unredacted versions, we know who they're talking about, so we can follow in our research. If you're new to this case, you're going, what the hell, guys?
Yeah, and another problem with that, Doc, is that some of these DCI reports, they interview multiple people.
Yes.
So that is somewhat of another problem, but hopefully, Jamie, that answers the question. They actually also released this is another part of it. They released the CASO report for some reason, but they cut out, or I don't know what they did because I haven't really went and studied it, but there's about 40 pages, I think. I figured out there's about 40 pages they didn't include in their version of the CASO report. And I have no idea what they didn't include. I haven't went again. I haven't went and looked.
Yet. We have no idea yet.
No, not yet.
It's on the list.
They also talked about there's a letter in this document dump that they attached.
Someone's at the entryway doorbell.
Yes, thank you. Sorry about that.
Pizza.
That's right. That's exactly right. Pizza Sunday. They also attached this letter, and they talk about there's old, I guess, audio, maybe even video files that their software doesn't work. They can't convert it. At the same time, they also said there's others that they are converting. But the problem is that if you go through and look at these documents, everything's been converted. Everything. So I'm not buying it, Christina.
I think
I'm not
more than once, two Jacks. Because I'm starting at the back end, and there's like it looks like they converted it a couple of different times. So are you saying all of these copies aren't any good? I'm not buying it either.
No. What I'm saying is that why would they take the time and send this whatever to their electronics guru? He does the conversion and makes copies to DVD, CD, and then not keep a master file on that. Why would they do that?
They wouldn't.
Right, exactly. Because that would just be dumb, because somebody else may need a copy. Somebody's copy that got one, they scratch it, and they need another copy right quick. And so they would have to go through the conversion process again. That's just dumb.
Plus, they're going to put something on the cloud.
Well, I mean,
or maybe it's not a cloud for them. Maybe it's a server. But
I'm sure it's a server. I have no doubt they've got it on some server.
So, they're thinking. I don't know what they're thinking. It's just so.
I also found
frustrating.
the different fonts in the reports. I find that really strange.
Yep, they're all they've all been redone. You look at the I compared the documents, the unredacted versus the redacted. They've all been redone. Every document appears to have been retyped and is now looks pristine. like the
Yeah.
type font, the way
Yes.
it's been printed out has.
Been cleaned
So
up.
in other words, what they've done is they vetted every document, and
Yeah.
they got the razor and they removed what they wanted to remove, right? So they did a holistic approach because they're sick and tired of people requesting FOIAs. I'm sure of it, right, Jack 61?
No
This-
doubt.
Right? So their thinking is, damn it, we've got to put a stop to this. So we'll do a docu-dump. And notice what they did. Oh, in the fine balance of things, we decided we're going to redact A,
Yeah,
B, C, D.
Their balancing test.
The balancing test. So they're saying, you don't agree with us? Hire an attorney. We'll tie this up for a couple of years, and you go broke. So essentially what they're saying is, all right, we'll give you this docu-dump. It's going to be virtually useless for you to study. But you know what I see is the major issue? Massive censorship. So I see the trend, unfortunately, whereby the attitude will be, we don't want anyone who's not a professional investigating any cases. Full stop.
Yeah.
It's going to be the end of it.
Yeah.
It's going
it causes massive problems for anybody looking into the case.
They, they can want that or not want that all they want, but they're still a government entity. They are funded by our tax dollars, and they have to adhere to the law. And the law says we live in an open government, open records land. And so there's an old adage, you can want in one hand and you can poop in the other, and you can see which one fills up faster. And that's where I'm at with it, because the more you try and act like there's nothing to see here, the more that I know there's something to see there. I've learned that.
But it's the same issue, right, guys? Finality. They want to shut down the case.
They want it to be done. They want it to be done.
Done. Right? That's why, in my opinion, they want to shut down the Innocence Project. They want to shut it down when you think about it, right? Because you do a case, and a case can cost millions of dollars, millions, occupy weeks, maybe months, years of all the work done by the attorneys, the judges, the juries. And then years down the track, a group says, I think we need to look at this case again. And they unlock it, right? They unlock it, Sunshine Christina. They say, right, I want all the documents. I want all the prima facie documents. I want all your reports. I want everything unredacted. I've got professionals. I've got this amount of money. We're going to go through this case step by step.
Yeah.
I don't want that, because can you imagine? Oh, you made a mistake, mate. The guy's been in prison for 20 years. He's not the one that did it. You've got to release him, right? They don't want that, because it means you can never get finality. You can never shut a case down completely. They want to shut all cases down. Their argument is, Sunshine, you were judged by 12 of your peers. Accept it.
Right. You're done.
No, what? We're done. We're done.
That's right.
Well,
That's right.
And I'm okay with that, as long as they've done their job ethically, truthfully, and with justice being with justice and the truth being the goal and the outcome. Yeah. Now, but if you're going to try and use justice to satisfy personal or a group of individuals' goals by convicting innocent people, then I don't have to be okay with that. And the law says you're not supposed to do that, right?
I know. I know. Sorry, Jack 61.
No. You're fine. You're fine. Great conversation.
I was going to say, but the flip side of that is this, right? When Brendan Dassey had his case reviewed by Judge Duffin. Judge Duffin looked at it and said, "This is bullshit. Release
Took a
this
year.
kid now.
Took a year to do it.
Release this kid now." Goes, "What are you talking about?" Brad Schimmel thought, "Shit, we can't have this." So, being the Attorney General, he played I want to appeal. So he appealed, went to the en banc. The en banc looked at it. The 3-panel judges said, 2 judges said, "This is garbage. Toss it out. Release this kid now." Brad Schimmel goes, "Oh no, we've got to have an emergency meeting. We've got to keep this kid in prison." So you see what I mean? It's tit for tat.
Yeah, but let's be clear. Let's be clear here. The only reason Brad Schimmel did what he did to keep Brendan in prison, I think Schimmel probably would have let Brendan get out, except for his conviction is the avenue by which key evidence was used to convict Stephen
That's
Avery.
right. That's
Correct.
right.
Did not release Brendan Dassey and keep Stephen Avery in prison. That's when Kratz used the term sacrificial lamb.
Yep.
That's what he meant by that. He knows that without Brendan, he never would have been able to get what he needed to get a conviction against Avery. Because one of the things that the YSL case has been very vocal about is what the attorneys say is not evidence. It is not evidence the jury can consider. It is not evidence that is entered into the record for appeals or any of that. What is evidence is the actual pieces of evidence that is brought in by testimony, like people like you who are able to testify in a court of law and make the item an evidentiary fact for the record. That I really didn't grasp until I think like the YSL case, there was a woman who was trying to explain it. And I finally understand why they made such a big deal about certain key items, because on appeal, like when these cases go to appeal, they don't, we know this, but they don't have witnesses. They don't have, people going in and speaking to the judge. All they have is the transcript, a list of the evidence, and the briefs from the appellate attorneys. And so they're looking at matters of law with the evidence and the judge's ruling on those pieces of evidence. That's why Kathleen attacks each piece of evidence like she does, because if she could just get one or two of them to be shown for what they really are, which is garbage, then the case becomes that much weaker, because this is a circumstantial case, So, and we're I don't know about y'all, but I wasn't taught this in school, like how court of law works and civics and all of that. I know more now just from, being interested in stuff like this than I was ever taught in high school and in college. And so, and that's pretty much every working class American. They're not going out committing crimes. They're not surrounding themselves with attorneys at dinner parties talking legal strategy. So we base our idea of the court of law about what we see on TV, how it's portrayed.
A lot of people do,
yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I mean, you get into, shows like Law and Order and some of these other ones that they get some of the elements right, but there's other elements they get completely wrong. Like CSI. Remember CSI?
Oh, yeah.
It warps people's thinking that, DNA could be done in an hour.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
But but at the end of the day, it's the ability for an attorney to tell a story,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah.
that's what Kathleen Zona did. Kathleen Zona had to de-engineer what was said in court, and it's not easy, right?
No.
It's basically exactly what I like to do, what our team likes to do. That is attack the evidence, try to take the evidence apart. And as you saw in yesterday's podcast, we kept it purely scientific, right? No speculation. Here's the information. Here's the interpretation. And what's interesting is the way Kratz interpreted the evidence and used the word inference.
Yes.
Now, you're correct. An opening and closing statement is not evidence, but we're human beings. We like storytelling. Who can tell us? Who's your favorite teachers? The ones that can tell a really good narrative, a really good story, and you are convinced by it, right? They're the good storytellers. Kratz is telling a story. He's saying, trust me, bro.
Yep.
Trust me, right? So he's trying to put Teresa Hallbach in a place where he knows he can't, right? So what did Kathleen Zellner do? Attack the evidence. What do we got? We got a bullet. Can we actually take the bullet apart forensically? Yes, you can. Oh my God. Now the case is starting to look really, really shaky. What about the key? What about the cremains? So you attack the evidence. You give an alternative narrative, right? So that's why we got to be very, very careful, because the attorneys are telling a story. They're trying to convince 12 people to say guilty, Your Honor, or not guilty. It's a game.
That's right. That's that influence of these opening and closing statements to influence the jury.
Yep,
the
correct.
inference. And we know that Kratz, Fallon, gone. They all used inference throughout his trial. They did it to Brendan too.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. It's one of this is one of the most bizarre cases I have ever seen.
Absolutely.
It's real bizarre.
It's a really great conversation. Yeah, it's really good. I wanted to pop this on. Jamie had a question up a little bit. I left it on the screen. So are these mock documents? And, just in explaining that, I wasn't clear enough. Jamie, this is a copy of the new version. Okay. And I'm going to show you the same document that we had from before, the actual original document. This is what we have now. This is what we had before. And if you notice, a lot of this has been clipped out, and that's the record status information. This piece right here is hugely important concerning exactly what Christina was talking about. When was the last time this record would have been updated? Well, according to this, the original, it says 2/8/2006 at 10:52 a.m. Okay, that's February 8th, 2006. However, if you go to the version we have now, all that's been clipped out. We don't know if they've updated it. We don't know what's been changed because they clipped it. They redacted it, or it's not even a redaction. It's just cut out completely, edited. So I'm like Christina. I'm a little concerned when a law enforcement agency, a state law enforcement agency, goes to such great effort to just take information out that is, to me, hugely important, especially if you're not only looking at the record itself, but you're looking at the origins of the record and what's been done to it over time. Hugely important. So, all right. There was another question that I think Susan's answered it, that Jamie had, about if KZ has filed anything. She did file a couple things in the circuit court, but she had to withdraw them because she filed it inappropriately. So those have been withdrawn. As far as I know, the only time frame that the Court of Appeals has, it has to be a reasonable amount of time that they get to the case, but there's no date set. So if they're overborne with a lot of other cases, then who's to say how long it's going to take? I mean, I really thought
they actually took the case up on October 16th, which means they started reading the briefs and stuff like that.
So they're looking at it now.
So, yeah, they're looking at it. Tracy seems to think it'll be after the first of the year. So
Yeah.
there's
I
really no way of knowing them.
No, I predicted into this year, going into next year, but we'll see.
I think it'll be
Anyway.
too much longer. Yeah.
I probably not. They're probably making as much headway as they can. A lot of material to go through. So.
Yeah.
All right. If everybody's ready, if you guys are good, let's make a start. We stopped here last week at 198. It's page 922. The document total is 2,250 pages. Of course, a lot of these, there's really nothing here. Some of these, if we want to take a look at it, some of these we have, many of them we don't. Susan asked me last week or before which documents are missing, and I haven't went through and made a list of what we already had versus this entire report. I just know there's dozens, especially, well, shit, it's scattered throughout. It's not just towards the end. A lot of them, I know that toward the end, I think the last one we had was 353, and this document dump goes to 372. So there's 19 right there that we didn't have. So anyway, let's move on with this a little bit. Hey, if there's questions, I'm trying to get them highlighted. Guys, if you have questions here on the panel, just stop me. If you want to look at the original document, that's fine too. So anyway, 198. This is the excavation of Stephen Avery's elevated dirt pile on 11/11/2005. Yeah, excavation is really not the right word. I think destruction, Doc.
Complete destruction. Correct.
Elevated. That's funny.
It's hilarious, actually.
You're talking about all that dirt up above the burn pit where the doghouse is and that whole kind of pad that was laid, right?
They're boarding the skid steers. They're looking for Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah.
Yeah, they literally dug that entire thing out, took the dirt, soil, everything, and then they smoothed it back over, it's gone. Everything that was there is gone. I don't think we have any real reason to read this one. This is one that we had. So
Can we just address this question by Rhonda SD here about the December 9th status hearing?
Well, yeah, I guess we can. I mean, until we hear something else, I don't know that it means anything.
Right. They have changed judges recently.
Yes.
It's very strange. According to Tracy Strunzi, she says, status hearings are for pretrial stuff. She's never heard of such a thing at this juncture in this case.
Yeah.
In a case. So I really have no clue why they scheduled a status hearing. And I don't think anybody does.
I think I saw, I don't want to say out of turn, but I think that in the defense diaries, there's the sidebar chat. I think even Travis said that he's not really sure what it means. Yeah. I mean, this guy being new to the case, he's not from necessarily right there. I mean, it's not, I think it's like the next county or two over. It's not that far away. Unless he's just trying to get some kind of handle on some particulars of the case. I really don't know what it could be. I don't.
All right.
So are those, I know some of them are like held by Zoom or like a Zoom call or something to that effect. Do we know if the public's invited or can get a link to it?
No idea if it's going to be in person or Zoom or,
I would imagine it's going to be a Zoom or by phone, one of the two. And I would think that's going to be a recorded and documented conversation since it's on the record.
If it's actually in person, I would think some local news stations would be there.
Well,
I would
I
think
would
so. I would-
hope they would be. How?
absolutely.
Yeah, because I would. Let me put that on my note thing. Because it would be interesting if we could see if we could
A week from tomorrow.
status conference.
I don't think I don't think we'd be in a participation capacity. Maybe as an observer.
Yeah,
But-
that's what I'm hoping for.
Unless a local news station can cover it, have a camera in there.
The patch, which is for Rack's thing,
Yeah.
he wrote a couple articles on some of the stuff in the YSL case. I found them like looking for something else, but I wonder if maybe I'll see if I can email him if he's still up in that area. I don't even know.
He is. No, he's not in Wisconsin. He's down in, I think it's Joliet, Illinois.
Mm-hmm. But maybe he could attend, or someone else.
Guessing it's going to be super brief, and I don't know, just
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Why would you have a status conference on a case on appeal when you're first taking over? I would want a brief overview from both parties about the case and what kind of mess I'm dealing with. Because, I mean, he can pretend, this person can pretend he's lived under a rock, but I think
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm not entirely sure. He's just not looking for some particulars in the case. I can't believe he doesn't know about the case. That just don't sound right.
Yeah, I'm not buying that. And I think,
but I mean, the status of this case is that it is in the Court of Appeals right now. Mm-hmm. That's the status.
So I'm wondering if he's just wanting, like, to see. So one of the things that I've noticed by watching this YSL case is there's a lot of stuff that goes on the record, but is done not in front of the jury, right? And they talk about like rules of law, and they talk about stuff they want in, and they talk about like things that I think are really relevant, but they don't do it in front of the jury. And it's because they're trying to figure out like how to get the case presented legally, how to defend it legally, and then from the judge's perspective, how to rule legally, right? And so I'm wondering if he's just trying to get an idea of where everybody's head's at. Zellner, of course, my client is innocent. This is what I'm trying to get done. And then maybe like get a sense of if the state's going to just be throwing garbage motions, or like, do they really, because one of the things Whitaker said was this case about the YSL case was this case is sloppy. You're literally, you're not making any sense with how you're trying it. Your witnesses, the order of your witnesses, there's no flow. It doesn't make any sense. Like, she's literally telling the prosecutors this in the middle of trial. And so I'm wondering if because she knows that the trial's garbage, but she can't just say, I'm not going to try the case, because that's just not how it's done, apparently. And so I'm wondering if maybe he's just trying to get an idea if he's dealing with people who are trying to do the right thing or not. Maybe.
I don't know. I just is so unheard of. I've never heard of in this kind of a situation, because remember when Deb left, Judge Flowers, this new judge in Manitowoc didn't get a status conference that we're aware of.
Right.
No,
There wasn't
nothing.
one.
No, there wasn't one at all. And he had it for months before he says, "Oh, I can't do it. I know this guy. Sorry." Why would he do that? He had to have known at the time. Hey, I know this guy. I've got to pass it off immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead they waited months and months to do this. Actually, I think he waited about a year.
He was put on July 10th. Oh, no, wait.
I know that ain't right.
Hold on 1 second. So Suckowitz has been off, and then it went to another judge.
That's right. In Manitowoc.
And now where's it at?
That
This
was
new judge and that new judge, I
October
can't.
30th of 2023. So it's been over
Thank
a
you.
year, yeah.
That's right. Well, that new judge got it. He knew that Sawinski was involved then. He had to have known. And he waited to say, "Oh, I can't do it. I know this guy. There's a conflict."
You think that's the reason, Jeff? You think he does know Sawinski?
I think that's what he claimed.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think that's what. Yeah, I've read that somewhere. Don't hold me to it, please. I'm
So
pretty
somebody
sure, though,
mentioned
that's
that in chat. And I had never heard that.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. That he said he knew Sawinski from whatever. Doesn't really matter if there's a personal relationship. He's doing the right thing. But why didn't he do it freaking months ago? Even if he waited even a month,
Yeah.
okay, let's give him a month to get caught up. I
Yeah.
can't do it, guys. Got a conflict. I need to pass this off to another judge. Why did he wait over a year? I don't. Something's wrong there.
That may not be the actual case. That could be a rumor.
Could be.
It just doesn't sound.
Well, like I said, don't hold me to it because I haven't seen anything official.
Yeah.
There was
Tracy
no
said
telling,
it could
guys.
just be that Lambrecht had a really full caseload and wanted to pass it off. I don't know.
Well, again, waiting a year to do it. I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's at 8:45 a.m. December 9th.
Oh, are any of them in any rush? No.
Well, no. I mean,
They're not in any rush. Are any of them behind bars? No. Therefore, there's no rush. They're not under any obligation. Now, if the judge knew Sawinski, he probably delivered the newspaper to him. Right? Oh yeah.
No.
Possibly.
Delivered the newspaper
Possibly.
to me years ago. Oh, that's a conflict of interest. I better recuse myself. But all those MTSO officers who are on the Avery salvage yard, did any of them think to recuse themselves?
No.
Of course not.
Not until they
No
were ran
conflict.
off the property.
Correct.
3i4s. When the investigators went to collect Allen's DNA, this is all I know. As far as I know, he's denied talking to anyone. I think there was actually one interview he did, but is it a 60 Minutes or a Dateline? I think it's a Dateline interview that he did, but they yanked it. It's not on. Well, I've looked for it.
I saw a little bit on YouTube where they were talking to him. He
Yeah.
denied that he attacked Penny Bernstein.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did.
He denied it. And you're thinking to yourself, hello, is this guy a trustworthy type of guy? No, he denied it.
I don't know.
Actually
about
up for parole last year, right?
and I think he's up again next year. I don't know about y'all, but that video of him, y'all have heard the expression that eyes of a shark. There's cold, dead, flat eyes. Gregory Allen has beautiful blue eyes, but they are dead.
Yeah, he's dead inside. There's no doubt.
Yeah, like I got like I got a very, very, very uncomfortable feeling. And all I could think about was Penny and those ladies, the one in Green Bay and the one in Minnesota, and how terrified they must have been looking into his eyes. It had to have been, I mean, just one of the most traumatic experiences on top of what he was doing to them. But I mean, very lifeless looking. He's definitely, yeah. And you just don't
Justin.
get that vibe from Stephen Avery. I mean, they want you to, but Stephen Avery reminds me of like every other young, dumb country kid who is immature and a pain in the butt. Like, you know, my nephews are running around shooting Nerf gun bullets at everybody. You know what I mean? Like that's
Just being a little jerk. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, just ignorant and
Ill-mannered.
hard-headed and revving the car early in the you know, right after dawn because they have to go to work, so everybody else should be awake too. And that's not the kind of people that are going around stealing women's bathing suits off the line and peeping in windows.
Yeah, wearing it on their head. Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy, man, that guy's crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, Justin Strickman said that they belong to the same hunting club. That is what I heard.
Okay. Yeah, I saw
But
that.
again, this is rumor central, guys. I don't know. And Justin's basically said the same thing. We don't really know what this status conference is. That's why I said originally, I don't put any stock into it until I need to, because what I know right now, it's nothing.
That, you know, that's actually pretty interesting if you think about it. So this guy that the state wants you to believe is someone who is not trustworthy, who isn't, you know, right? Sawinski is all of these fill in the blank with all the adjectives to make him unbelievable that the state has used. But he's clearly a well-standing member to the point that the hunting club that he's in is the same one that a judge uses. That's kind of interesting.
They interviewed everybody under the sun as we went through, you know, especially the way back in the, well, not too far back, neighborhood canvas. These agents talked to everyone, even the postal worker that delivered the mail. Actually, I think that one might be coming up, because I'm at 220 ones that I've got yanked out of here. I think even the postal worker, they interviewed him. They interviewed Doc remembers Lurquin and his brother.
Yes, I did.
So, but they didn't talk to Sawinski.
No, and plus they tried to interview the propane tank driver that is the station across from the Avery salvage yard,
Yep,
right?
that's right.
Not only on it, but one across the road. So they were doing a very extensive canvassing of the area. Did you see anything? Did you hear anything? Rather bizarre that they wouldn't ask the guy that delivers the mail on the Avery salvage yard.
The paper.
Did you see anything? Did you hear anything?
Right.
Especially, yeah, when they're asking.
When he phones in.
Yep. They ask the neighbors what time the newspaper comes.
Correct.
Yep. But never went and talked to him. And this guy calls, Manitowoc on the 6th and says, "Hey, I saw something. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe that other judge just didn't want to touch it. It's because this case is still a hot potato. I don't care what anybody says."
I'm just curious if he talked to Sawinski.
I don't know. All right, let's move on.
Okay.
We're at 199. This is a Menards store video interview. Now, I want you to look at the date. This was on the 7th that it occurred, but the report date's not to the 23rd. Anyway, it's dreadful. Anyway, this report, they basically talked to the employee there, I guess, that that was there when Chuck and Steve were there. I'm not going to go through it and read it. You're certainly welcome to do that, but there's really nothing grandioso in this that I'm aware of, and I've read it. I didn't reread it when I yanked this one out the other night. Some of them I do get sidetracked off of, and it really irritates me. And I'll pop something on Discord, I'm like, what the hell is this? Yeah. Anyway,
Except Jack 61, that's where the rumor started that the Avery boys bought a chop saw.
yeah,
A
that
chop
was
saw.
a rumor that was disproven right away.
Turned out to be a planer. Right?
Yeah.
Slight difference, right?
Yeah, huge difference. This is 200. Let's see if we can find out who this is. This is Dale Olson. I'm sorry, Dale Olson. Again, this was on the 7th. This is the original. This is on November 7th. Here we are. This report's 2.5 months later. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember this guy. I'm not sure that I read the report.
3.5 months later. Jesus.
Well,
It's about Menards.
yeah, and this guy too, this Olson guy. Let's see if we can see how blurry this copy is. This is the copy that yours or Rookie got. Voluntary information. He's an employee at Petrosky's. Okay, because they interviewed some people at Petrosky's, and actually they ended up using Petrosky, at least in some effort, I think. I'm not sure. I can't remember if they're involved in the moving of the RAV or not, or somebody that they actually. I think they were.
Because
Anyway.
he saw Chuck at Menards that day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see that now. Yeah, there you go. So I don't think there's anything there that is of great interest. Earl Avery interview. This is one that really drives me batty, because they redacted. I'm gonna guess at least an hour. I don't really know for sure. There's 3 tapes involved. Tape 2 ends at 28 minutes into a side A of a 48-minute tape. I guess it's supposed to be 50 minutes per side. Side B, tape 2, side B is blank, and all of tape 3 is blank. And they refused to give me a copy. Now, you can go through and read this report. Now, this one's redacted. The original one's not. But, I don't know why they would have redacted it, because I really can't find too much in here. I did kind of scan through it the other day when I was going through it and doing the yanking this report out. I can't really find much of anything here. Why? I mean, potentially there's conversation about Marie and Kayla, but
He's got the guy that was hunting rabbits with him. What's his name?
Fabian.
They've got his name redacted in there.
Well, you're going to find, if we get to it, and I think we will, they interviewed, because I think I sent this one I think I put this one on Discord. They interviewed Ryan and Scott, and their names are redacted for some reason. I don't really understand that at all. 202, who are we talking about here? This is Edith Clark. Again, an interview on 11/8. A few months earlier, we finally get a report in. The agent writes the report. This is another one from Seiler. Again, some redactions. All these are redacted on the front page. Let me get this original up here. Tuesday, November 8th, approximately 10:15 to 10:50. Seiler and Ogden interviewed Edith Clark, located in Two Rivers, voluntarily provided the following information. She's been married for 45 years to her husband, Harry Clark. Edith and Harry, along with their granddaughter, Marie Litterson. Okay, there you go. There's the connection right there. I'm sure all that's redacted on the other one. Approximately 19 years of age. Isn't this Brian's girlfriend? Or one of his girlfriends?
Who, Marie Latirsky?
No. Yeah.
I think so.
Edith, let's see. Approximately 19 years. I had recently been down in Hudson, Florida on vacation. Edith recalled departing Wisconsin on October the 19th with plans to stay in the Hudson, Florida until November 19th. Marie Littersky's father's name is Bob Litersky. Home phone. While down in Florida, Marie was informed by her employer at Fox Hills Resort that Marie had to return to Wisconsin immediately or face possibility of losing her job. Marie had been working full-time from approximately 2 p.m. until 10 p.m. at Fox Hills Resort. Marie Litersky's normal day off is on Tuesday. Due to the ultimatum given to Marie by her employer, Edith and Harry and Marie returned to Wisconsin on Monday, October 31, arriving home approximately 11:30 p.m. Edith and Harry, along with Marie, had driven down to Florida and back to Wisconsin, driving the Clark's motorhome. Edith specifically recalled that at approximately 8 p.m. on the 31st, while passing through the north side of Chicago and heading north, Marie's cell phone rang. The first call Marie received on her cell phone was from Marie's boyfriend, name unknown. Edith specifically recalled a second incoming call received, and the call was Stephen Avery. Edith specifically recalled that the time was approximately 8 p.m. and that it was dark outside, and that Clark's and their granddaughter Marie had already driven through Chicago vicinity heading north. The phone call from Avery lasted a couple of minutes, and Edith Clark recalled hearing Marie saying angrily to Stephen, "Kiss my ass," before hanging up the phone. Edith Clark asked her granddaughter Marie what Stephen Avery wanted. Marie responded by saying, "Stephen said something to the effect, 'Come to my place and I'll make it worth your while, or I'll meet you somewhere if it's more convenient." Edith knew that something was not right, but Edith did not pressure her granddaughter Marie for explanation. Edith Clark has never met, nor did Edith Clark know Teresa Halbach or anyone in the Halbach family. So interesting.
That's all. Okay, so this little, this has always struck me as just bizarre. This whole little narrative
Scenario.
that Stephen called her up and out of the blue said something like that to her. And the fact that she worked at Fox Hills, how Fox Hills figures in with Brendan. And
she says her granddaughter used to date the son of Barbianda.
I think she dated Brian.
Yeah, pretty sure she dated Brian.
Yeah. There's just something there's something off about all like this. I don't believe this is an accurate representation.
It's just weird.
Is she claiming that Stephen phoned her at 8 o'clock on October the 31st?
Yes.
He's
burning Teresa.
I've got Stephen's phone records here. There's no call at 8 o'clock on his cell phone. I don't think he's going to be using his house phone to call a mobile number in someone in Chicago.
He was on the road,
I've got his phone records on my screen.
Yeah.
Is there an 8:30 call?
No, there's not. There's a 4:35 call, which he did to Teresa, Then the other call he did was to 557, which would have been to his brother, and then a call that went unanswered at 9:20 to the under residence. There's no phone call to Latursky.
So maybe
Yeah.
it was Bobby.
Or Brian.
Or Brian.
Brian.
Could be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To answer JD's question, where's the call log? Jody rang twice, and we have the actual call log where we got Stevens, but we also have the call log from the jail that shows that Jody calling out.
Yep, correct. I've got Stephen's phone records here, and there's no call at 8 o'clock. You got the call from Jody, the 2 calls from Jody, and then of course he rings up his brother. He's not ringing up Latursky.
No.
No. And this, to answer Tom Pedden, what's the deal with Kayla? Are there rumors Stephen or Earl did something terrible to her? Well, not Stephen, but Earl. He's got definitely some charges there, or definitely some serious issues. We've got reports, about Earl's shortcomings and some things that happened. I don't think we'll ever have the full picture of that.
I think it explains why he is so quick to throw Stephen under the bus, because he's never been charged, or what charges he did face were very minimal.
Yeah,
for what he did.
Yeah, he got to skate on a lot of things that he did. Candy went to Manitowoc and claimed that she had recordings and yada yada yada, but she never produced them.
No,
I don't know that. I don't know that she had them. It just could have been a threat for a while.
I'll tell you the funniest thing that I shouldn't say funny. The bizarrest thing was Candy called the cops on Earl for the video camera thing, but then said, don't arrest him until after our anniversary because he's taking us on a trip.
Yeah.
After she caught him videotaping the kids changing,
Right.
minors changing for a birthday party. She said, I want him arrested, but will you wait until after our anniversary?
Yeah, but please hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really sketch.
But,
just a wee bit.
But if I could just interject, I know it's not totally relevant, right? Isn't it rather bizarre that you've got, as a spokesperson, Earl Avery, on convicting a murderer, pointing a finger at his brother and for his nefarious activities involving women, and yet he had committed the most despicable acts on his own children and other children as well, right? It leaves a very foul taste in the mouth when you've got Earl accusing his brother, and yet, remember what he said on cam? Because all is forgiven. I've improved. I'm a changed man, right? Whereas nobody else can be improved or get therapy and become a better person. It's rather bizarre.
Kratz can. Everybody can. It's just Stephen, right? Stephen's
Correct.
the one that we cannot. No one can have any.
No one can fix him.
Yeah, there's no rehab in Stephen.
Correct. And remember what happened when law enforcement went to the property. Earl was hiding underneath a pile of clothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, it's also interesting that in August, I think it's August of 2018, when they were probably getting ready to do these interviews with Earl, he had more charges.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
So, what?
For what?
You knew that.
I knew this. Yes.
Not good. Not good stuff. Basically, some inappropriate stuff.
Are we talking about the recordings and stuff?
I don't recall what all the particulars are, but I just know it involves younger than 18.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, it's the stuff that, Yeah, there's some bizarre stuff going on for sure.
Anyway, this next one is a Chris, and you notice that at the header page. I'll go back just so you guys can see.
Sorry.
It says Christopher Avery interview on the the 2024 version. The original version that we had. Oh, come on, don't do that to me.
Where's the recording? Is there a recording?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if there's a recording of this or not. I would imagine there probably is, but I don't know that for sure. But it says Christopher Avery interview, but it's not just Christopher Avery. It's Christopher Avery and Trista
Jimenez.
Jimenez.
Yeah.
Why isn't her name on the front page? It's so misleading.
Right? Yeah.
It's so misleading.
Also, why isn't their names redacted?
Well, this is the original report we got.
Trista's
okay.
is.
The
Okay.
2024 version, it is redacted.
Okay.
Trista, not Christopher.
Yeah, Christopher's not redacted. They left his.
And Avery, they don't redact. Yeah.
And Jason Cattell, the landlord.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't remember what this interview is about, but we can read it if you guys want. It's pretty long. It's 7 pages, which leads me to believe it probably was recorded. I don't
Doesn't
really
it
have
say
any.
at the top? No,
I'm sorry.
it doesn't say at the top
Say what?
that there's a recording.
Oh, let's go back here and see. There's a reporting. There's Siler, and we'll go through the header page. I don't think so. Related addresses, telephone numbers. Nope. But that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. I'm telling you.
Origination.
It doesn't mean anything that they didn't necessarily list the recording. I told you, my oldest DCI request is for a recording of Deb Strauss and Dettering that they did with Jody on the 11th of the 12th, an audio of that interview, and I was told they had records responsive to my request. Not that that doesn't exist. There was no recording. We have records responsive to your request. That means they have a recording, but it's not listed on the report. It's not. So that's why I said that doesn't mean anything to me. I think that it's a 7-page report. Sorry, it leads me to believe there is a recording.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're telling us in the narrative, and they went through and wrote down all this detail in just a relatively short time. Really difficult time believing that. Now this interview is 3 hours, 12:05 to 3:15, so that's pretty long for an interview.
Boy,
Again,
no
I'm
kidding.
glad. If you guys want to read through this, we can. If you want to move on, we can do that too. So, what do you guys want to do?
I reckon
I'm
just skim through the document, see if we can pick anything up as you
Yeah.
scroll.
Okay, all right.
Wait, right here. Start right there. The purpose of the interview with Christopher and Trista was to determine whether Christopher or Trista had any knowledge about the disappearance of Teresa Hallmark. All right.
I'm not sure where you're seeing that.
Right there.
Oh,
So
there it is. It's on
yeah.
down. Okay.
It should be noted that earlier in the day on November 8th, I don't know if it's my eyes here. Let me
11:37 to 11:50. Siler and Ogden met with Christopher and Donna Marie Avery. Okay, that's Marie.
Mother.
at two-
No, that's Donna, his mom. Chuck's ex.
Yeah. Chuck
Oh, okay. Gotcha. At Two Rivers, Donna provided current information about Christopher and Trista's new apartment so that Siler and Arjun could locate and interview Christopher and Trista. Nassau advised Christopher and Trista that neither of them were under arrest. Provided the following voluntary information. Christopher was currently in the same business as his father, Chuck, which related to going around and purchasing junk cars and scrapping, blah, blah, blah. For however much money Christopher could obtain, Chris typically would buy junk cars for $20 to $50, and then after scrapping the vehicle, Chris could obtain anywhere from $120 to $200 per car. On an average day, Christopher could scrap approximately 2 vehicles. Scrapping the vehicle consisted of removing gas tanks, etc., etc.
Is that where? That's not where we burned the bitch originated through, was it? His girlfriend?
No. That was somebody that had a family member that had a friend that worked, I don't remember where, that overheard this conversation that Chuck said, we burned the bitch. It was like a third-hand telling of the information.
Right. But Christopher wasn't involved with that.
I'm not going to say Christopher wasn't involved, but that didn't come from him. This may have been, I think that may have been somebody that Christopher might have been a girlfriend or something like that.
Yeah.
I'd have to reread that report.
So whoever the third or fourth party was in that, it wasn't originating back to Christopher. Telling somebody.
Why do I think this took place in a locker room on a lunch break? They overheard Chuck's son on the phone with Chuck. Does that sound right, Susan?
I can't remember the report. It's in one of these.
Yeah.
Let's go through. They may mention it in here if, in fact.
There's also a phone call, if you
Somehow.
guys remember, to Calumet. There was a phone call, Calumet Dispatch, where that story is told, and it gave, I think it gave some of the more detail, but it didn't give names. If there did, they edited them. They've edited them out. Then they didn't want to. I do remember they didn't want to identify themselves or even the person. But
scroll up a little bit because none of this is really relevant. You
mean scroll down? Scroll down. Yeah.
Scroll down.
Yeah. Christopher's body followed breakdown of the Avery family members. Chuck was in his mid-50s. Yeah, I don't think there's anything too relevant here. Barb was the only sister to Earl, and the guys was currently married to Tom Yonda, with divorce proceedings pending. Barb and Tom did not have any children together. Barb was married to Dassey. I don't think anything relevant there. Chris wasn't sure about his uncle Steve, but at least Steve had been previously married to Lori Matheson. Okay, more history. Earl was married to Candy. Candy Avery had a daughter named Marie, age 19, from a previous marriage. She also has another daughter. Earl and Candy have 2 children together, Brittany and Kayla. Maybe it's Brittany I'm thinking about. Because age approximately 13 or 14, Brittany was approximately 12. It should be noted that Christopher Earl Avery quit school approximately 9th or 10th grade. Chuck Avery was believed to have made it up until the 10th or 11th grade. Chris described his father Chuck as follows. Chuck was an outdoors type who liked hunting and fishing. Chuck and Stephen were currently building a cabin on Father Allen Avery's land in Crivets. We believe that there was approximately 200 acres of land. I didn't know they had that much land up there. God almighty. That's a big piece of property.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that much. I really didn't.
Of course, Christopher might not know exactly either.
No, that's true. This might be a
200
little
acres
interesting.
is a lot of land.
It is a lot. Chris indicated that Chuck had apologized to Chris for the current family situation, which related to the disappearance of Teresa Halbach. Chris Avery would not be specific when asked by Sollers as to exactly why Chuck Avery was apologizing to Chris. That's weird.
Strange.
It is strange. Chuck was considered to be an easygoing, heavy smoker, and that smoked. Was Chester cigars, light beer drinker, coffee drinker, early riser who was usually up by 7. Chuck usually worked 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, every other weekend 8 to 12 on Saturday. The junkyard was closed on Sundays. Chris knew that Chuck Avery owned a stainless steel Marlin 22. Those things are just everywhere. And that's all. I'm thinking Glenfield. Yeah, maybe it is a Glenfield. And that there were shotguns and more rifles in the gun safe, possibly even pistols.
Stephen Avery was very mechanically knowledgeable and in a lot of respects acted like a child. Yet we're supposed to believe he can clean a crime scene and manipulate Brendan into and teach Brendan how not to leave fingerprints or DNA.
Yeah.
Well, really, Stephen was in prison basically from the time he was 23?
Yep. And he was immature
for most of his life. So
yeah,
his growth, his not his mental growth, his
emotional.
He was stunted. Yeah.
This is interesting. Both Tristan and Christopher recall that Avery complained about having headaches all the time. I don't think I ever heard that or remember reading it. Christopher knew that everybody in the Avery family burned garbage and burned tires, as well as on the Avery property. It's easier for them to burn off the tires and tire rims so they could obtain the approximately $130 per ton with respect to rims. Yeah, that's true. In addition to obtaining money for the rims, Avery family would obtain anywhere from $90 to $160 per crushed vehicle, I guess, depending on weight and so forth. Christopher said Chuck was the clear leader of the 3 brothers and sister. The business was in Chuck's name, and there was never any doubt that Chuck was the leader. I'm not seeing anything too much more.
That explains Earl's attitude, actually.
Chris grew up and was familiar with a woman named Maria Latursky. Latursky used to be the girlfriend of Christopher Avery's cousin, Brian. There it is.
Okay.
Chris and Marie went to school together. Marie lived at Barb's residence for approximately 1 month during the June of 2005. Marie was short of money, and since Marie was currently dating Brian, Marie lived in Dassey in Barb's residence, which was right next door to Steve's. Chris described Marie as approximately 5'4", 115 pounds, brown hair, medium thin build, wore glasses or contacts. Christopher described Marie as being a flirt and a tease. Okay.
Well, I can see.
Hold on, wait, go back. Right there.
I can see how Stephen might think he might get a little something there.
Yeah, hit on her, young.
Yeah.
Attractive girl. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
19 years old. You want to read something there, Christina?
Yeah, but here I'll read it. So Christopher Avery and Trista Jimenez specifically recalled a early summer picnic cookout that was organized by Stephen. They specifically recalled that Marie Latursky was present at this cookout and that Marie and Stephen spent time talking to one another. Christopher Avery knew that his uncle was fairly knowledgeable when it came to computers, and that Stephen Avery had the ability to scan in pictures on the computer. What? Where? Why?
He didn't have a scanner.
Like, why are you? Why would you be asking this?
Why would he even be volunteering it?
Yeah, well, he wouldn't volunteer it unless he
Yeah.
was asked. And why
Yeah,
are they
that's a
fishing for
question.
this?
He's
Yeah.
the criminal mastermind. And, Stephen got all those headaches because he was had all the fumes from the paint, gasoline and bleach.
That's right, paint thinner. That's right. You
Oh,
make that,
yeah.
make, 50 gallons or whatever the hell that number was, or 200 gallons.
Yep.
An insane amount. Yeah, they would. Him and Brennan would be dead.
So we know some more about Latursky.
Listen to how this sounds. This is worded really weird. All right. Trista Jimenez commented that Trista Jimenez believed in her heart that Stephen Avery was the person that was directly involved with the disappearance of Teresa Marie Halbach. Trista Jimenez went on to state that Trista Jimenez did not trust anybody in the Avery family, with the exception of Christopher Avery. Trista Jimenez specifically indicated that Trista Jimenez would never trust Stephen Avery, Chuck Avery, or Earl Avery to be in the presence of Trista Jimenez's children. I feel like, so I feel like they're.
Why would they keep saying her last name? Why would he keep typing her last name?
Yeah, this is like a pronoun thing.
Yeah.
Because read the next one. Christopher Avery was neutral with respect to whether or not Christopher Avery believed that Stephen Avery may have been involved with the disappearance of Teresa Marie Halbach. Christopher Avery had no information whatsoever with respect to Teresa or what might have possibly happened to Teresa.
I notice here now, as we're going through this section, that they're leaving out the question, Siler asked, or the other officer, or the other special agent asked. They're leaving that out.
Yeah.
Yep.
What a poorly written report.
Yeah. Actually, acting like that's just a narrative that he gave,
It's a 7-page report for 3 hours, over 3 hours. It's 12:05 p.m. to 3:15, 3 hours and 10 minutes, and it's only 7 pages. Okay, I'm gonna have to request this one. I'll get nothing, or they'll make me wait 10 years to get it. But I'm gonna request to see if there's an audio.
So what they're doing is they're only supplying
This is 203.
the information that they deemed relevant to the investigation.
They're leaving a lot out of that report.
That's right.
Now I'm wondering why. Oh no! Oh, never mind.
What? Now you got me curious. What, Susan?
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm wondering why she didn't mention the call while she was near Chicago, but that was Latursky, not her. Yeah. So never mind.
Okay, well, let me pull the raw. We've got 204. There's another blanked out interview, and I hope Jamie is still here and he can see how they redacted these names. Basically, as Doc said, they just made them useless. Unless we're fortunate that Yoris and Rookie were able to get any of these reports. This one's with Kelly Pitson, and they redacted her name. Why would they do that? I don't understand. Somebody help me. I blowed that up too much. Sorry. They redacted her name off the new report.
Yeah,
I
that makes
think they-
sense.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Doc. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I mean,
No.
she's a principal person who knows Teresa Hallbach, right? Part of the
One of her best friends.
Yeah,
And
but
she
what the hell?
testified at trial.
Yeah, why the hell would you redact her name?
No, I don't think Tristan testified.
She's not the one that testified. Isn't she the one she went on the camping trip with?
She is, but I don't think she testified. I
Oh,
don't remember.
okay.
I don't remember her
Okay.
testifying. Anyway, we're not going to read it, but again, this is just, I showed the original, and now this is the 2024 one, and it's just basically a big redaction. They cut out so much stuff. Anyway, yeah. So let's move on. We've got this one. I know that I've read it, and others have too. So I don't think there's anything new there, except for this, the attachment. And we don't have, I'm not going to say that we didn't have this before, but I'm not going to say we did either. This is a fax. Clearly, you can see at the very top of the page. This is Tacken. I don't know why that says Andre's email. I have no idea who Andre is. But this was attached to it. We don't have this unredacted part that I can't, if we do, I don't remember it. I'm not saying we don't have it, but if we do, Doc, anyone, do you remember have you seen this?
Not
artist.
Agree. Hey, con artist.
What does it say? Dog barking.
Mean boxer.
Yeah.
Something.
Hey, I was distracted for a minute. Whose are these? What is this from?
This is an interview with Marie Latorsky. I'm not Marie. I'm not sorry about that. Kelly Pitson. Kelly Pitson.
But are these phone calls? What?
Let's see if we can glean something from the bottom here. Electronic Justice Report is page 6 of the U.S. Cellular telephone bill dated 11/6 that the weekly schedule and telephone records and copies will be submitted to the DCI. The above mentions a weekly schedule and phone record have previously been turned over to the Calumet County Sheriff's Office and are covered under their reports. Fassbender did obtain copies of this document from Calumet Sheriff's Office.
Go back up one more, Jax.
Fassbender asking about friends of Hallbach. Advised that Hallbach had a friend by the name of blank. I can let me flip over to Dylan so we can get the friend's name here. Not that page. Yeah, here we go. Right here it is. Pitson advised that Hallbach had a friend by the name of Tina from Green Bay and that she was real close. Pitson couldn't provide any further information on Tina. Pitson advised that there was an Abby from Waupun that was close to Hallbach also, but could not provide any other information for her. Pitson advised that there was a Tim Pratt from Green Bay that was friends with Hallbach. Pitson provided his number. Pitson advised that she would be willing to meet with Fassbender at the Calumet County Sheriff's Department to look at some items such as glasses and keys to see if she could identify them as Hallbach's. Pitson advised anytime after 4:30 p.m. normally would work for her. And it concluded, and then the above-mentioned weekly schedule and phone records had previously been turned over to CASO and are covered under the reports. Fassbender did obtain copies. Electronically attached is page 6 of Pitson's U.S. Cellular phone bill. Did that say that on the other? And I just freaking missed it.
Yep.
Yes, it's redacted. Okay, so they got Kelly Pitson's phone bill. That's what this is. Let me go back over. Sorry.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, it said attaches page 6. Oh, wait.
I know what it said, but it's got Teresa's name.
It does.
And that stuff written on
Well,
the
it may
right.
have Pitson's phone number on it.
Yeah, it could.
But
Below are
yeah,
minutes
this is
used.
Teresa's.
Hold on. Below are minutes used and other details. Mean boxer.
Yeah, I don't
Bites,
understand this. I don't understand this
Con
dog bark.
artist.
auto traders. Con job.
I see that con artist. That's interesting. Auto trader sort.
Yeah,
Wow.
dog barking.
Yep.
And then something roofing
Yep.
needed.
Headed to
Something.
Alaska.
Employee.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
it.
very interesting.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to have this full thing with all them, whoever wrote those notes in there. Look, did Teresa write that stuff on there? If it's her bill?
I don't know, but we need to try and see if we can get a copy of the unredacted version of this. I also want to compare this to the ones Ken Kratz presented to see if it's accurate.
This is summary reflects the estimate and current usage as of 11/3/2005, 5:49 p.m. So is this the full phone bill? The full thing? Because it doesn't have that warning at the bottom. Now they got that partial, and it warns at the bottom that it may not be complete. On every page, there's a warning down there.
Let's look at these calls. Hold on. So we've got 1031, 227, 213, 212, 1251, 1244.
One backwards, yeah.
Yeah.
What time did she leave her the voicemail on Bart Yonda's phone and
11 something, I think.
also Zippers?
It must be that 11. It must be that 11:43 in Mishcot, and the one for the zipper was
Zippers was around 2.
It was 2:12, 2:13.
Yeah, but see, one of the things that I've realized is the timing, the way they write the times on these phone bills. There's so many different ways to track time. Like we don't even know what if it's military, if it's Eastern, if it's Central, if it's what's the main one what's that one they use?
Greenwich Mean Time.
That thing. Yep, that one. So we don't even know. And then you had time change the day before. And what I find is that the very first one on that list is 227?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the last one. The last call that's on that
because
record.
it's going in reverse.
So isn't it so these must all be outgoing because
that's incoming.
Well, it says if you look at the call too.
No, yeah, it says incoming because we know Steven supposedly called her.
Yeah, 2:27.
But it's not on there.
So she called
no
Zippers at 2:12. It's listed as Manitowoc.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of weird.
That's when she that's when she supposedly called the Zippers and left the voicemail.
Yeah. Yep. Why would it say Manitowoc?
Stephen called Teresa at 2:35.
Where's that call?
Yeah. But they clipped it.
I have a feeling that these calls are specific calls between Teresa and is it Kelly? Who is this?
No,
Kelly Pitson.
But if you look, Doc, it can't be that because if you look, you've got incoming voicemail, Manitowoc, Keel, incoming voicemail, Mishcot, Green Bay.
No,
These
I
are-
mean,
Yeah, I think that Michicot is the call to Barb's phone, probably 11:43.
Yes.
Yeah. no, I meant the last call at 2:27. That was a call between Teresa and Pitson, because remember, Teresa said that I'm on my way to the Avery salvage yard.
I thought that was Don
Oh, that was
Pliska.
supposed to be the Don,
That's
yeah,
Don
auto
Pliska.
trader.
But, yeah. Kelly
not Kelly
Pitson's her friend.
Pitson.
Yeah, Kelly's
Kelly
her friend.
Pitson's the one she went camping with, supposedly when she lost her keys.
So
Yeah,
Right.
probably. It's
whose records are we?
Girlfriend.
Whose records are these?
Teresa.
Teresa.
Teresa's.
It's got
Right.
Teresa's name on it.
It's got her
Okay.
name on it right up here.
Okay, and because they redact
You know,
calls, we don't know who the numbers are.
No. But look over to the right, Doc. Over to the right where the con artist is written in. What's that written up at top? Call blank 20 minutes ago. I mean, it looks like that.
Wait. Hold up. Teresa wouldn't have this. That's not Teresa's handwriting.
It can't be.
These are supposed to be the phone records that Ryan and Mike Hallback broke
Well,
in
Kelly
and
was-
got.
Kelly
back
was there
up.
too. Kelly was there too.
Yeah, go back up again. Go to the top of this page. This
That's
is printed
Teresa?
off of the computer from her cell phone company. And this is going to be their
Well-
notes. This is supposed to be the
calling the
notes
numbers.
they made trying to track her down. That's
Yes.
what I'm
I think you're
thinking.
probably right.
So those comments are from Ryan Hilliges and probably somebody
Pitson.
else. Yeah,
Kelly.
Because remember, they reversed the numbers and they rang up and noticed the comments that they wrote down. Because
Yes.
remember when they accidentally spoke with Steve Speckman and they thought it
Yes.
was Stephen Avery.
That was the girl at Auto Trader.
Yeah, that was I can't think of her name now. At Auto Trader, one of the girls that worked there, she misidentified Speckman
Right.
as Avery. Yeah,
Yeah.
big time.
I wonder
I'm
if
just-
the con artist is referring to Zipper.
I don't know. It's written nearby. It's kind of in between the line there. I don't know.
And I think the dog barking mean boxer bites is about the zippers too.
Well, and it
Say
also
underneath Auto Trader there. SO. Can you guys make that out? Above
Where at?
job. Between Auto Trader
Yeah,
and
yeah.
job.
I don't know what that word is. I'm trying to figure it out. Hold on.
is it
Con
send?
job?
Send job.
Con job?
Huh?
Scam?
Con artist, Auto Trader. Is that send or sort or I don't
Done
know.
job?
It kind of
Maybe
looks like
done.
send.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
It wasn't a Zipper involved in the roofing business.
Oh,
Yes.
drunk and roofing. So that's all about the zippers.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's the Zippers.
Uh-huh.
Because remember, he was belligerent
Very.
and he had a mean dog.
Headed.
Needed AA.
Headed to Alaska. That would be his.
Headed to yeah, that's right. Headed to
yeah.
Who he
Alaska.
called
That's
his
right.
son.
Yeah.
Correct.
I really like to know who made these notes. I really would.
Yeah.
Let's finish reading the report. Go if you don't mind.
Okay, this is the first page. I can get let me pull the original. So we're not having a bunch of redactions here. That's the first page. I'll blow it up a little bit. Susan, you want to read some of this? We'll pass the hat.
Sure. On Friday, January 20th, 06, at approximately 5:05 p.m., Fassbender interviewed Kelly Pitson, born in 79, at her apartment in Appleton. Fassbender had previously arranged for the interview with Pitson by telephone. Meeting with Pitson, Fassbender displayed his credentials to Pitson and also provided her with his business card. The interview took place at her kitchen table in her apartment. Pitson advised she currently works as a teacher for Oak Lawn Elementary School and provided a work telephone. Fassbender asked about her relationship with Teresa. Pitson advised that Halbach had been a childhood friend of hers. She advised that they went to school together right after college and then kept in touch through college. Pitson advised she went to college at UW Oshkosh. She advised that she moved to her current residence from Oshkosh in August of 2005. Pitson advised that Halbach was one of her best girlfriends forever. Pitson also advised that she and Halbach share a cousin from the Halbach side. Fassbender asked Pitson about her activities on Thursday, November 3, 2005. Pitson advised that Halbach's roommate, Scott Blodorn, called her that Thursday to see if she had seen Halbach because Halbach was missing. She advised that around 4:30 or 5 p.m. that evening, she and another friend by the name of Lisa Folks went to Halbach's house where they met with Bladorn and Ryan Hilligus. Pitson advised that Hilligus was the former boyfriend of Halbach and friend. Pitson advised that Folks and Halbach had been close friends since high school. She advised that Folks lived in Appleton on Rogers Street and provided a telephone number for Folks. After arriving, Hilligus said he had found a schedule of Halbach's for the week of October 31 to November 6 that had a telephone number on it, and Hilligus called the telephone number. Pitson believed the phone number was a stop that Halbach had made in New Holstein. Pitson advised that the person Hilligus spoke to was a male subject. Pitson advised that they then went online to try and get Halbach's telephone record. Pitson believed that Halbach had singular. Pitson advised that they ultimately obtained Teresa's updated telephone records and saw that she had not made any calls since Monday, October 31. Pitson advised that they compared the numbers to AutoTrader and saw that one of the numbers was an AutoTrader number. Pitson advised that Bladorn called a number to Manitowoc. Pitson believed it was either the last or second to last number she called. Pitson advised that Bladorn made contact with a man who said he had never heard of Halbach before and that he was not getting any pictures taken and never heard of photography by Teresa. That's got to be Zipperer. Bladorn said that the man was gruff with him. Fassbender knows this number to be for George Zipperer. You want me to hand it off?
That's up to you.
I'll keep going a little bit.
Okay.
Pitson said that she then called a number that she believed to be the third last number called by Halbach. Pitson advised it ended up being the guy from New Holstein that Hilligus had called previously. Pitson advised that he said something about having rescheduled an appointment with Halbach. Pitson said that the subject also questioned why they were making the calls and that the police weren't handling it. Subject questioned why they were making the calls and that the police weren't handling it. Pitson said that she and Hilligus went to Halbach's parents' house for a while Bladorn and Folks stayed at Halbach's house. As such, Pitson advised that she did not know if they made any more phone calls while she was gone. Fassbender asked Pitson if she had her telephone bill covering the day of November 3, 2005. Pitson advised that she did. She located it and provided Fassbender with a copy of the page showing calls made on November 3, around the time that she believed she would have made the call. Upon looking at the phone bill, she believed the number she called was such and such. The phone bill showed that the call was made at 5:57 p.m. to Sheboygan. Okay, I'll let Christina take over.
Christina, you want to read a little bit?
She's gone.
Oh no, no, she's not. She's
I don't see her.
still showing on the list below me, but she's not in the top list. That's so strange.
She back.
I have no idea what's going on. Okay, Doc, do you
Oh,
feel
no.
like reading any? I know you're struggling with your voice, but you want to read a little bit, or you want me to?
Could read a little bit. Yep, I am struggling a bit. Okay. Fassbender asked Pitson where Hallbach likely liked to shop for clothes. Pitson advised that Hallbach would have shopped mostly at Morris's. Pitson commented that about 1 month before Hallbach went missing, she had shown Pitson stuff that she had bought at Morris's, which included an outfit to wear while working at weddings and an outfit for going to a wedding, which was coming up. When asked where else she might shop for clothing, Pitson mentioned Gordman's and Kohl's. Pitson advised that Hallbach was a type of shopper that would look for deals and sales. Fassbender asked Pitson if she knew what brand jeans Hallbach wore. Pitson advised she could not really answer that. Pitson again advised that Hallbach was not really a brand name person, but would go and buy the best deal. Pitson advised that Hallbach wore the low-cut type jeans that are in style. Fassbender asked Pitson if she recalled Hallbach wearing Dassey flaunted jeans. Pitson advised that could be, because that is a Kohl's brand, and Hallbach did shop at Kohl's. Fassbender asked if Dassey Fontes could be bought at Morris's, and Pitson stated she believed that was strictly a Kohl's brand. Pitson stated that Hallbach had been shopping at Kohl's in the summer of 2005 because Hallbach had hosted a big tea party, as Hallbach called it. Fassbender asked Pitson if and when Hallbach would. What was that?
Sorry, Doc. I just want to tell Jack that Christina is backstage.
Oh,
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay.
Go ahead, Doc.
Fassbender asked Pitson if and when Hallbach would wear glasses. Pitson commented that she's never seen Hallbach wear her glasses. Pitson then stated that she didn't believe she saw Hallbach wear her glasses recently. Pitson advised that she and Hallbach went camping towards the end of July or in early August, and she does not remember Hallbach wearing them.
That doesn't make sense. Commented that she's never seen Hallbach wear her glasses.
Yep.
I don't understand. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Were they maybe new?
I'm wondering if they were the glasses that, remember they found that pair of glasses?
Well, I think that's the connection he's trying to make, but
Yeah.
Yeah, they were broken. They found a broken pair.
Yeah.
Fassbender asked Pitson about other friends of Hallbach's. Pitson advised that Hallbach had a friend by the name of Tina from Green Bay, and that she was real close to. Pitson couldn't provide any further information on Tina. Pitson advised that there was an Abby from Waupun, and that was close to Hallbach also, but could not provide any other information for her. Pitson advised that there was a Tim Pratt from Green Bay that was friends with Hallbach's. Pitson provided his telephone number as. Would you like me to continue reading? I could read.
Yeah, this is the end of it right here.
Yeah, awesome. Pitson advised that she would be willing to meet with Fassbender at the Calumet County Sheriff's Department to look at some items such as glasses and keys to see if she could identify them as Hallbach's. Pitson advised any time after 4:30 p.m. normally would work for her. At 5:30 p.m., the interview was concluded. The above-mentioned weekly schedule and phone records had previously been turned over to the Calumet County Sheriffs and are covered under their reports. Fassbender did obtain copies of the documents from Calumet SO. Electronically attached to this report is page 6 of Pitson's US cellular telephone bill dated such and such. The weekly schedule and the telephone records and copies will be submitted to DCIR.
So they're saying that this report that we're looking at is Pitson's, but that can't be right.
It's definitely Teresa's. It's got her name on it.
Isn't
Got her
that
name on it.
very interesting?
Why would they do that? I'm gonna have to contact them over this one because this is
Well,
clearly.
She mentions this. Kelly mentions this in the report there in her interview about, getting this off the internet and calling the numbers and that sort of thing.
Yeah, look up here in the top right. What does that say up there? 1 of 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, what's
that-
after this?
Another report. The next report. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm wrong. It's calendar. That's right.
Oh,
This
that's
is
her. Yeah.
Day
MS
planner.
her day planner.
Day planner.
Yeah, that's right. Of course, it's all marked up, redacted.
And there it is. Okay.
This says page 1 of 1.
Yeah.
Top right.
Oh, this is probably Kelly's maybe. It says Denise email. 11/3. Yeah, this would be Kelly's.
Let's see if there's something highlighted here. This is some kind of. Nope, that's it. That's all there is.
God.
11/3,
Does
11/4.
anyone else find it interesting that Kelly didn't know any of Teresa's other friends' last names?
Well, I think they were probably her friends from college and they didn't go to the same
Yeah,
university.
yeah.
And so kind of a different group. I'm not surprised.
I'm not shocked.
Okay.
205 interview of blank and blank. I did this one. I did this one the other night. I don't remember the names.
Hey,
Oh
guys.
wait, it's Ryan and Scott.
Fancy that.
And they
Why would their
redacted it.
names be redacted? Come on.
No idea. There it is. 205 and 205. Oops, sorry.
When did he write this down?
On Friday, January 13th. There again, why did they wait 2.5 months to interview these guys? All of November, all of December, and up into the middle of January, where they're actually interviewed. And they're interviewed together. It's a joke.
It is a joke. And this is not the original, right? The original one is out.
No, this is the 2024 version. This is the original.
Yeah.
You know, the difference in font and it's cleaned up. I mean, like, I don't know. For them to be interviewed together and to have waited so long, it never really struck me too much before, but now it does. To wait that long to interview these guys that were, that close to Teresa.
Yeah, her roommate, for God's sake, and her
Yeah,
ex-boyfriend.
Yeah,
Yep.
I have
And
a problem with it.
remember what the FBI guy said? The number one suspects are the ex-boyfriend and the roommate. Normally.
People
Except-
closest to her. I mean, she lived
Correct.
with this guy, and he was best friends with her roommate, and she used to date him, and they were still friends. I mean, come on. It's
Yep.
insane. And he's out there leading the search group. And
Yeah.
Well, they're both kind of co-leaders because Bladorn helped too.
Yeah.
You know.
yeah, he did.
And they both were intimate with her.
Yep, they were.
Not according to Ryan.
Hey,
Sure. Next one, 206. This is an interview of Karen and Tom. And again, they've waited 2.5 months to do an official interview with the parents. I mean, I get giving them a little space, but you got to get these people interviewed right away. I mean, to me, you do. That's just what law enforcement would normally do. In most cases, they want to clear out the ones closest to someone, but that didn't happen. So this is here's the wireless service agreement that it was. I did read through some of this one the other night when I yanked it out. Service agreement of Teresa's gives some details there. I don't think there's anything here that we have never seen before.
she had 200 text messages.
Well, she paid for extra.
Mm.
She paid like $4 or $5 a month for extra expanded messaging, because I think the standard was 100. I think, or maybe 50. I can't remember. I just know she paid that extra text messaging. It says, yeah, there's right. That's $4.99 a month, and she paid $2 to $3 a month for roadside assistance. That was something else they used to offer, but that went, as far as I know, that went nowhere. I think that's gone now. I don't think you can get it. Or if they do offer it, they charge the hell out of you. Anyway, 207. Go ahead, Doc.
Hold on. Hey, if I could be potentially a little bit nefarious here.
Sure.
So she had the #help feature on her phone. Is that correct? She paid for that service?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, isn't it interesting, right? Remember, we're theorizing here that Teresa Hallbach potentially could have been attacked behind her own RAV4.
Yep.
And the fact that she had a broken blinker light. So something potentially has caused her to stop, get out of her car. It's interesting that she never had the foresight to use that help feature. Hey, something is wrong. Just saying. Interesting. She had that feature on her phone, the roadside assistance, never used it. Or did she? And we don't know.
Well, see, normally I think for these extra features, you dial like star and then a 2-digit code or a 3-digit code, and it automatically connects you. I know that. I remember I had Singular and I had something. Oh, I know what it was. It was to like Singular. You dial star and like whatever the hell it was, 885 or whatever, and it would connect you directly with Singular operator.
It tends to suggest that whatever happened fast, quick.
That's right.
Rather than it was a non-nefarious striking a deer or falling into a ditch and then say, hey, star help, #help, I've got a problem, I've got a car problem. No, happened quick.
Also interesting,
Christina fell out again. She's restarting her computer.
Oh, okay.
So she'll be backstage, I'm sure.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll get a tone here in a second. Tell me when she pops in. Just another notation here, just a pet peeve. This is another freaking fax. It says 1/24/2006. Denise email, whoever Denise is. I don't know. Why aren't we seeing originals instead of a fax copy? Because they're going to get an original, I'm sure. I feel certain of that. It's pretty terrible copy at that. So anyway, let's move on. 207 interview. Let me pull that one up. I remember there were several in this range here that were redacted. 207. And this is James M. Schneider. And I believe
Jason. It says Jason.
I'm sorry I said James. Jason. And I believe, Susan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't our side investigator, what's her name?
That's
Huh?
Cherie Lynn.
Yeah, didn't she look into the Schneiders and the Spring Stoods?
Yes,
I'm sure she did.
Oh, Puntillo.
Montillo.
Yeah,
Yep.
Sherilyn. Yeah, Pontillo. Yep.
I don't remember Schneider's name myself.
I know I've talked about it with somebody. Maybe it was Christina I
Oh.
talked to with about the Schneiders.
Do it, Tammy Weber. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, unless you guys just want to, I'm not going to read this report. I don't think there's anything in it. I think I scanned it the other night, and I didn't
Yeah.
catch anything.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to do a few more, and then we're going to call it good because we've been here a couple of hours and then some. 2 hours and 16 minutes. So we'll do a few more. We'll try to get out of here at 2.5 hours, and I think we got a question or two. We'll try to knock out, and then we're going to get out of here. So 208 is an interview with James L. DeBeck. He's the postal carrier. I knew I'd read this. So they even interviewed the postal carrier. They would interview a guy that called in and said, "Hey, I saw something on the property that's really weird."
Yeah, not the newspaper guy, right?
Yeah, that's so. What
Really
the hell,
weird.
man?
And that's
Yeah.
on January 19th.
Correct. January 19th. They waited again. This is a fast bender report. So basically 2.5 months after the fact. Contact with, I'll pull that one up. 209. Candy Avery. That's right. There's two of these. There's another one that's coming up. I think it's just a couple, and we'll probably call it good. This is on January 23rd. Candy called Fassbender. I don't remember. I'm not going to go into what all was said. We can definitely read it if you guys want.
Won't believe
Yeah.
anything in there anyway.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's definitely behind the scenes, shaking every tree she can. She's talking about Wendy Baldwin coming after Marie. So, but this has been going on for, well, since November 17th, I think is when Baldwin went after her, somewhere in that time frame, and she's been after her since then. And it just intensified, especially from this point on. It really intensified. Candy Avery's told Fassbender here at the bottom, told Fassbender that her 14-year-old daughter, Kayla, was the only one that was welcomed or allowed to go over to Stephen Avery's house. Well, this is another kind of whatever was going on between Stephen and Candy. I don't know what all, if it just all stemmed from Marie. I don't know. But I think there was more to it. And of course, ultimately, back before he was arrested, Stephen had told Candy, "You're not getting a dime. I know who I'm going to, give money to, and you're not one of them." He was very clear about that.
She's saying Kayla used to go hang with Jody and swim.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Hold here. I'm sorry, I got a text.
Jody's getting really sick of being beat up by Stephen. Can you help her?
Yeah. Yeah. Anything she could throw shade on, she did. So
This
I
is
think
in
there's
January, the end of January.
That's right. That's right. And Baldwin, and then when it didn't work in November, I'm sure Wiegert joined Baldwin in going after Marie. So we got this report. Then there's a report on information on Teresa's cell phone. I yanked this one out the other night. I'm up to 220. I don't know if I'll have time to work on it tonight or not. I'm going to try to knock out 20 more. This is information on Teresa's cell phone. And we've had this one, that I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is, what was this one? 210? Yeah, 210. Yeah, we've had this one. I don't know if there's any attachments to this or not. This basically a specimen chasing down, I think, the contract. I think he ended up talking to the person at the store that sold the phone to Teresa. Yeah, that's his name right there. It's got part of his stuff redacted. So that's basically what this report is. He talked to several people. Nope, he didn't attach anything. Okay. Then 211, interview with, there's Christina right there. Just a second. I'll get her in here. Welcome back.
Hello. I'm not sure what's going on. I feel like whatever it is, it's like what you went through the other week. Remember when you just got the blank screen?
Oh, the blue screen?
Yeah, mine wasn't blue. It was like blurry. I sent a screenshot to Susan. And then you were gone. Yeah. So I don't know. So,
Yeah, my computer's acting weird today too. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm trying to be very careful. I haven't done any updates, so I don't know what the hell it is. Anyway, this next one is with the interview with.
Speaking of updates, though, do y'all have iPhones?
Yeah.
Yes.
That latest update we just did, oh my gosh, changed a lot of stuff, didn't it?
They added some features, but it hasn't. I haven't had any problems.
Okay. I mean, I haven't had any problems, but everything's weird.
Yeah, you can highly customize it now. I'm on the experimental firmware, the latest beta.
Oh, for the beta version?
Yeah, the beta version. I tell you what, I should never put on betas because there's always these glitches. But I'm on 18.2 beta 4. I mean, it really has introduced a lot of new features, especially Apple Intelligence. But it's not perfect yet, not by a long shot.
Yeah, I saw that the AI stuff's getting ready to come, start being very accessible.
Prominent. Yep.
Oh yeah. It's I'm one of those that I'm glad for new technology, but I'm a little leery of AI because AI is only as good as what's been fed into it, and so you have to be careful of what information you take from it.
And it also hallucinates too.
No doubt. It definitely makes mistakes.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how AI is going to impact the court system.
Hopefully not at all.
Well, yeah, but it because like you said, data is the key, and who determines what data is being analyzed?
Well, and how does and then from that, how does the AI algorithms interpret that data?
That's right. It's only as good as the human behind the AI.
That's why I said I hope it never enters. I mean, at least not now. I mean, maybe someday they'll be able to perfect that to where an interpretation doesn't get altered in an AI summary or whatever that it generates.
Yeah. But it's already playing roles in some avenues of law of the judicial process, and it's interesting to say the least.
All I can say is to you, Christine, and everyone, if I ever get arrested for something, I don't want AI involved in anything of mine. Not yet. It's not.
I mean, we're kids that grew up with movies from the 80s, like Terminator.
Skynet.
I don't know about anybody else, but every time I see one of those Tesla cars, I think, where's Sarah and John Connor? Because, that's what it reminds me of.
Well, there's a lot of those out there now. You got Tesla, and you got there's several models that's came out of Japan that have really hurt sales. I mean, Nissan got killed. They just got. I don't know if you guys saw this in the news, but they're laying off like 9,000 people around their factories, and because they got killed by one or two models out of China of these electric cars.
It's interesting that we're talking about this, right? Because the devices that we've got, our mobile devices, our computers, and even our cars, are now potentially spying on you. Everything you do.
Yes,
absolutely. Everything you say, everywhere
Correct.
you go,
Correct.
they know everything.
It's interesting that one of the car companies got roasted because they had a spy camera within the car recording what you were doing in the car. And their argument was the camera was there to make sure that your eyes were paying attention to the road. It's interesting because my son's got an EV, and it has a detector that if you are sort of like potentially nodding off, it gives an alert that you're not being focused on the road.
Oh, if you drift.
So therefore, the car has got so many sensors inside and outside. And some of the Teslas have been banned in China to go down certain roads. Why? Because of the cameras. They're taking intel. They're taking intel pictures as they're driving, right?
Wow.
Data. So the Chinese go, right, mate, no Teslas down this street, right? So it has implications. So it's interesting that potentially an electric car or your mobile phone, right, could potentially solve a crime because of all the data that it's receiving, right?
Yeah.
Geocaching, geolocation.
They solve crimes every day with cell data.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
And remember, the tragedy in this case, imagine if the Avery family had one camera on their property.
One camera.
One camera.
That's right.
Yeah.
To monitor the cars coming in and going out.
It'd be case closed either way, one way or the other.
Either way.
Well, according to the state of Massachusetts in the Karen Reed case, the cell data is incorrect.
Because it doesn't help them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it proves that he went in the house. He took
it's just
3 flights of stairs, right?
Yeah. Well,
their expert tries to say, oh, that's because he was going on these hills. And they're very low hills. They're not even steep hills.
Right.
I mean, it's just a joke.
So,
can I just read the comment that 3Rev says? My sensor is called the wife. Party over, mate.
I've got one of those too. The Rev Force, and exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, but in all jokes aside, with the amount of sensors which are out there, you think about that even carrying on your wrist, it's scary, right? And now, of course, with the satellites, which are being placed in orbit, you're going to be under 24/7 surveillance. You got an electronic device. That's why the criminals, they go airplane mode, or they put it in a Faraday cage bag, right? Because they know wherever you go, you're tracked.
Oh, so I don't know if this is everywhere or if it's certain areas, but I know for a fact if I go around people who, for instance, people who gamble, okay, there is some sort of program that runs that data in relation to my data. And then they think because I associate with these people, we must have gambling in common. So for the next 3 or 4 days, I will be inundated with gambling advertising.
Correct.
Trying to get me to
Jesus.
Because they're all using these apps. I associate with them. So they're like, well, she must gamble too. So let's get her on there. Or Yeah. Or like I have Philo for my TV, and my commercials are geared around where I use certain cards. So I know they're selling my information.
It's targeted advertising.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
They're also listening to everything you say.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
there's also cookies that if you're not careful, you go to a website, they're forced now to tell you what cookies they want to install on your computer. I go in and turn all that shit off except, make it work, functionality.
Yeah.
Other than that, but then, I'll get on the next day, open up my browser, and I'll have an ad in there for something, an Intel chip that I've looked at, or an Apple phone or something
Yep.
will pop up.
Yep.
It's like,
And
you son of a
anytime
bitch.
I know that they're getting my data to give me an ad, I make a mental note to intentionally not go there. Do you see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. It's irritating.
Yeah,
It is 1984, guys.
Yeah,
For
well,
sure.
It is
Yeah.
because a lot of people have done a huge amount of discussions, and it's amazing how many of your apps have got permissions to your camera and also your microphone.
Yeah, you got
And
to
there
turn that shit off.
Yeah, and there was a case where the so-called like Siri or whatever it is, your assistant was listening 24/7, and the person said certain words, and then minutes later they got targeted advertising on their phone and their computer. They're going,
Wow.
shit, my phone is listening to every word I say.
Yeah.
And boom, the advertising comes up. And that's why on the internet, there are all these guys, these tech gurus that go, see these 40 settings, go through them and turn them all off, because especially location services, your
Yep.
phone knows exactly where you are. And
Yeah.
it sends the data off to a data center saying, oh, this guy frequents this place quite often. Well, let all the restaurants and the shopping center or whatever send advertising to you because you frequent that area. So
That's right.
you're not secure.
But so many murderers are caught because they're so stupid. They Google all this stuff, and their phone tells you exactly where they were, or or they leave their phone at home during the event. And
Or
Right.
turn it off.
that's
Put it in Faraday
suspicious.
cage.
Yeah, but you just see so many dumb criminals, murderers
They'll leave their phone
are
at
caught
home.
with
They'll leave their phone at home, but use Tom Thumb or whatever to
Or
GPS where
wearables.
they're going.
Or wearables.
or wear the watch. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
or where they're
wearables.
watching.
But also in the Delphi murder, with the use of the phone, and also I think one of the girls had a health app, so they're able to work out distance traveled, height, all of
Yep.
that data. You
Yep.
see that in a lot of the murder investigations, it's all electronic.
Yeah.
All,
And
remember,
by the way, that data did not match what the state said happened.
there's something, yes, there's something really weird. Remember the Murdo trial where he killed his
Yeah.
son, his wife?
yeah.
It was all electronic. They were able to map every
His son's-
spot, everything.
Yes. Oh my God, they really
Every-
did in-depth mapping on
Yes.
that one.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, it
It's a
was.
pity we never had that data in the Teresa Hallbach case.
Yep.
One security camera on that property. This case would be
One
over
camera.
one way or the other.
Yep. Damn it.
left or she didn't leave. Yep.
I'm
Exactly
gonna.
right.
I do not for one second believe they weren't monitoring Stephen Avery.
Well, I think they were definitely keeping an eye on him,
Yeah.
especially after he filed the lawsuit. I think they were definitely had their ear to the
For
ground.
sure.
And the perfect stakeout place was the deer camp. The deer camp
Yeah.
had direct vision to Stephen Avery's trailer, and it was on the same level. Remember?
Redon is related to Yost.
Yeah, don't start me on that.
And
direct line of sight.
And the Manitowoc County gravel pit was maintained by the Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yep.
That's
All right,
always
guys.
bugged me too.
Get the questions.
Yeah, let's get to the questions. We're going to stop here. This is 2:11. We'll pick this back up next time for at 2:11, but we got a few questions before we jump out of here. This is kind of one that we were asked last night, but Susan, you want to read this, and anyone who wants to
Sure.
comment on it can.
From Tom Pettin. Good evening, Pen. I love and respect your opinions so much. I just wonder, what are your theories, if you have any, about what actually happened? I'd love your honest answers. All the best.
Doc, you want to go first?
Yeah, just very, very quickly. As you know, I try to stick to the forensic evidence because that gives the greatest clue as to potentially what happened to Teresa Hallbach. I think really the manuscript of what happened to Teresa is in her RAV and outside of her RAV. The fact that her blood is on the back door, the way the blood has been sprayed on the back door, is indicative to me that she was attacked behind her own RAV4. We know that her car has got a broken blinker light that was placed in the back of her RAV. So something had occurred probably very close to when she left, in my opinion, the Avery salvage yard. She had to stop her vehicle, went behind her vehicle and was attacked. By who? I do not know. But the evidence indicates that she was driven somewhere. Why? You can tell by the blood, the swipe marks of her blood on the inside of her car, the RAV4. Plus, there's definitely a missing carpet piece because the blood, the dripping blood, stops suddenly in the back of her RAV4. So in my opinion, she was attacked. I do not know by who, but it occurred very, very quickly because you could see that her phone records, her phone activity suddenly stopped. All the evidence does not suggest that the attack occurred on the Avery salvage yard. Otherwise, you'll find evidence of blood and other biological material. The investigators cannot place Teresa Hallbach in Stephen's trailer. And as you saw in our podcast yesterday, nor the garage. Item MFL, you can debunk it. So do we know what exactly happened? No. That's why Kathleen Zellner needs to get her hands on the RAV4 and go MVAC it, check it from top to bottom. If Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey are in that RAV, they'll find their DNA. If they're not, who else are they going to find? So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that pretty well explains my position too. I think she was attacked, and that we talked about that cargo mat several times and that straight line. I actually showed it. I took a photo or a clip of that and used a straight line. You can see that the blood stops, so that cargo mat was yanked out of there.
Yep. And how many times have we seen it? You wrap a body in the carpet and you transport it somewhere, right?
That's right.
You move the body, just wrap it up because the carpet is absorbent. If there's any blood, it's all going to be absorbed into the carpet. And what do? You get rid of everything. Burn carpet, body, you name it.
And those cargo mats have a rubberish bottom, so it's going to be contained.
They do. Yes, they do. Correct.
Yeah.
So I can't really add too much to what Doc said.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I don't know what we'll ever know. Go ahead, Susan.
Yeah, and I totally agree with Doc. I think she was attacked at the back of her car, thrown in there. By who? Don't know. I mean,
Don't know.
Anybody that will tell you that it was Ryan or it was Bobby or it was this one or that one, that's total speculation. We can't possibly know until there is some sort of solid evidence
right.
But I don't believe it happened on the Avery property. There is no crime scene.
No.
There just is no crime scene. So therefore, I think she did leave the property. But
I agree.
as to who actually did it, I don't know. I do believe Stephen was set up for it,
Yes.
because he would not bring that evidence back to his property,
No.
especially the bones.
That's the dumbest hell. That's the dumbest shit. That's
So,
the dumbest
God,
excuse.
sure would like to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, all of that evidence points toward her being hit at the back of the RAV, the blood spatter
Yes.
on the back door. I mean, that's just 101, right?
Yeah, but the important thing though, Tom, is that the blood spatter expert for Kathleen Zellner was able to reproduce that blood distribution pattern, right? Kathleen Zellner wants to reproduce the crime.
Yes.
How can I reproduce the crime of what took place? So, because the blood spatter expert, Stuart James, was able to work out the angle that the blood hit the back door, it hit at 90 degrees and dripped down by gravity. Kratz presented the theory that Teresa was picked up by the boys and thrown into the back of her RAV, and the blood from her hair hit the back door. But it's impossible because the blood, instead of going that way in the direction of inside the cargo bay, went straight down by gravity, right?
Right.
Blood is a fluid. It's going to obey the laws of physics, right? And so hence the blood hit, but notice where the distribution of the blood was low. So Teresa was knocked to the ground and repeatedly struck low, likely with a hammer or a tire jack, something like that, a blunt and bloody object. No one knows where it is.
I do think it has something to do with that that turn signal or whatever it is, that light that was broken.
Yes, the broken blinker light is probably what precipitated her to stop, Teresa to stop and get out of her vehicle. Now, if someone was chasing Teresa, you're not going to get out of your vehicle, right? So she got out of her car and ended up at the back of her own RAV with the door open, right? Put in the blinker light, boom, got hit from behind, knocked out, probably killed.
Probably.
Yep. The state don't want to go there.
No.
She wasn't necessarily killed on the 31st either. She could have been alive. Could have been taken somewhere and killed later. Yeah, we don't know.
But at the end of the day, right? If you're going to carry out this sort of horrendous crime, and in dismemberment, you need privacy, you need time, you need the proper implements to do it, right? You think about Stephen. He's got his mum, he's got his brothers, he's got his sister, he's got his nephews. It's not
Jody on the phone.
Jody giving him calls. You don't have the privacy, you don't have the time, right?
No.
And where's the evidence of the dismemberment? That's why I spent a lot of time looking at phenolphthalein and the luminol staining, saying, mate, where's the blood? And the answer is there's none.
There's none.
And that's why Kratz had to invent the inference, oh, well, we found some bleach, therefore the boys cleaned up her blood, which is the most ridiculous thing you ever heard. So do we know what happened to her? No, but the evidence on the RAV4 suggests that she was attacked behind her own.
That's right. I agree. 100%.
Yeah. The only thing that I'll add to that is motive means an opportunity, and prior behavior. When it comes to Stephen Avery, Tom Kasurik did not like him and was willing to do things that at minimum are unethical, I think illegal, in order to make Stephen's life unbearable and put him in prison. And he was looking at being exposed for that. And he had just had some some depositions that were taken in Stephen Avery's civil suit that did not go well for Tom Kasurik's attempt to minimize his role. And that was his town. We have, what's his name? Who was Ken Peterson, who was the sheriff in 2005, who went on the Dr. Phil show and said it would have been easier to kill Stephen Avery. He said that.
Oh, then to frame him, yeah.
Yeah, than to frame him. And he was the sheriff of Manitowoc County when he said that publicly and didn't think there was anything wrong with making that statement. I always found the fact that Kathleen Zellner, when she comes to Manitowoc, she travels with not only an armed driver, but armed bodyguards. Quite curious. Like she travels in a motorcade when she comes to Wisconsin. And
I don't blame her. I don't blame her
I
one
don't
bit.
either.
yeah, you don't do that unless you think that the sheriff's department there is not going to protect you. And that's being polite about it. So I do not in any way think that Stephen or Brendan or likely anyone on the Avery property had anything to do with it. But
I have a suspicion about one, but it's just a
You're right.
suspicion. We'll leave it there.
I mean, I think there's some shady people there, but I think the most shady people are paid with Manitowoc County's tax dollars and probably played a role in this, quote, investigation. So,
Can I just add something? Right? Basically on what you were going on about. There's a movie and I showed and I spoke about, I saw it, right? You're thinking about, could a sheriff do something nefarious? Well, guys, if you haven't seen it, the film is called Murder in Coweta County.
Is that on Netflix?
Out. I'm not sure where it's on, but it's
Based on
called
a true story, right?
True Story, involving murder, dismemberment, you name it. And who did it? The freaking sheriff. In the
Oh,
US.
Be the first time.
that was the one with Johnny. Wasn't that the one with Johnny Cash in it?
Brilliant
Yes.
film. Like you look at it, you go, my God, this can't be real. And yet it happened, right? The guy, I think he was sentenced to death as well. This is the sheriff, killed one of the guys. Like, they were running some type of illegal, I think it was it alcohol production?
Moonshine.
Yeah.
Boom. So if you think that law enforcement won't kill, think again. It was very
What's even more interesting, I remember you telling me about that. I watched that movie. It's not that long, but he not only killed that guy, he had one of his hands there get wood, and they burnt that body all night long and stuffed it down in a hole.
Yep, correct. Oh well, yep.
Part of it.
Yep, that's what sort of oh my God, and the amount of wood that they used to burn the body was huge,
massive amount of wood. It's crazy, but it would take that.
Correct. To bone fragments, because remember they found the ash in the river.
That's
and
right.
the bones, and they did the sifting. Right? Funny how funny it goes. These are human bones, right?
Yep.
So people in the other county saw the fire, how big it was. That's where they led to it.
That's right.
Crazy murder in Coweta County. You will not believe it, and yet it happened.
And you can bet that wasn't the only one he probably killed. They just never caught him.
No, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we
There
got one
are
more question.
baddies in every profession.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
Every profession.
We got one more question here from Kelly McAlien. I heard that there was a white van parked out by Avery for a while before Teresa went missing. Now, let me ask you guys, wasn't there a white van that they surrounded inside? I know there was. They taped it off inside the Avery salvage yard. Remember that? And the
There,
photos?
and there were several vans taped off.
There was a
black.
little trailer. I remember
That-
the little travel trailer, but
It-
not the van.
Yep. Yeah, but there was a white van too. I'm sure of it. I'd have to find the photo. I
Yeah,
don't
and there
remember
was-
one.
I haven't
I don't
heard
remember
anything
one-
about white van
one out.
parked out by.
No, not out. I don't. But there's a lot of rumors that flew, Kelly.
There was another question you missed, I think, Jack. Another one from Trav, and I saw him ask this yesterday as well. He said, "I'm just curious, has any law enforcement or part of the prosecution or inflectional guilters ever flipped and now are on the side that Stephen and Brendan are innocent?" Definitely no law. Nobody in the prosecution.
No, not publicly.
Guilters? You recall any guilters that flipped to innocent?
Yeah, there's been a few over the years.
I
But
wouldn't say guilters. I would say there's been people who were interested who had no opinion.
or heavily on the fence.
Yeah, that were completely on the fence or and leaning pro prosecution until they researched. And, because they don't want the prosecution to be doing wrong. But then once they researched the case, they became, I wouldn't say they would be, they would say that these guys need a new trial. I think at minimum, an honest person, once reviewing the evidence, is going to say they're wrongfully convicted. But if you go strictly by the evidence, like how we were talking, how it's submitted, the evidence looks awful until you actually see how it was collected, what it actually is, and what it actually says,
A very, very problem with that, Sunshine Christine, is that very few people are going to do that. Few people are going to devote the time.
Only us crazies.
Yeah, they only want a quick TikTok summary of the case.
Yeah.
That's it. Like attention span, 45 seconds, and that's it.
Yeah.
We don't want any. Whereas Kathleen Zorner, you could tell, like her or hate her, her experts have spent and devoted a lot of time teasing the evidence and having a look at it for what it is and how it was obtained. And we've done that too by doing the deep dive analysis. Many people want a quick summary. Is he guilty? You read a lot of articles on the internet. It makes you laugh. Oh, yeah, he did this and they did that. And you go, have you actually read anything? And the answer is no.
No.
Well,
No.
they use those trigger words, right?
Correct.
Animal cruelty, woman
Correct.
abuser,
Correct.
pedophile. They use all these trigger words that get people to emotionally think instead of logically think. There's a saying, I think it was Mark Twain that said it, that a lie can travel around the world before the truth gets its boots on. And it's very true. Because truth takes time.
GB says Reddit is full of guilters since Cam. Well, it was full of guilters before. They just weren't as vocal. They think they've got, some kind of, I don't know, Nobel Prize winning documentary. I can't even hardly call it a documentary. There's so much hearsay involved with Cam. I'd like to be able to say Sean did a great job. From, it's clearly well made. It was well funded, but it's so full of unprovable, undocumented, whatever the opinions. that I can't really call a documentary. I can't.
And also ridiculous excuses
Oh
by
my God.
the law enforcement that were involved.
Oh yeah. The ash
Stupid
coming from the
excuses.
fire that Sarah Faust testified about, that the ash came out of the fire and was still alive since somehow, landed on the berm, and that's why her dog went, crazy over there. Come
Well,
on.
you see, but guys, this is the fundamental problem that we even saw yesterday in yesterday's podcast. The state have got to come up with some incredible reasoning and thought processes to explain certain
Yeah.
events, right? And it's like if a truther comes up with something like that, they'll say, "Man, you're a conspiracy theorist. How can you
Right.
think like that?" And
Yeah.
yet, dog handler who never appeared in court comes up with the most bizarre hypothesis that professional canine dog handlers are going, "You fucking serious?" These are
Right.
professional canine dog, not us, who we're not professional canine dog handlers. People that work with dogs are going, "You're kidding, right?" Right? These are people that work in the profession, right? And then when Fassbender presents the magic bullet theory of how Teresa somehow they found this bullet with her DNA on it and draws this trajectory that goes straight through the toolbox, which is on the ground, people are going, "What? You've got to be kidding. How does this bullet, Stephen must be on the ground like a soldier with a gun firing at a dead body and hits no bone, and this bullet somehow ends up underneath the green compressor, right? And has wood in it and red paint and no biological tissues, nothing, no blood, nothing." And then you look at the luminol staining, the phenolphthalein staining, nothing makes sense, right?
No.
Remember what I showed yesterday? How they actually sprayed on the Western Wall,
Yes.
Yeah.
2 feet up on the boxes.
and I looked for blood, and it
The
was
junk.
no. And you're right, Susan. There's so much junk there. You're not going to be able to hide any blood that sprayed. Correct?
No.
No.
Yeah.
No.
None. There's your answer right there. They
No blood
manufacture
on the gun. I mean,
no blood
anywhere.
nothing.
I mean,
So they manufactured a crime scene. You know why? Because they're going, "Wait, we can't put Teresa in the trailer. Oh my God, we can't put her in the garage,"
Nope.
which means this is not looking good. So what Stephen is saying, that they brought all the evidence to my property to frame me, all of a sudden is gathering legs and it looks really good. That's why they were reliant on Brendan.
because Chuck said that Barb told him Brendan came home with bleach stains on his jeans.
And the
No
right.
particular date when that happened.
scary thing is, hadn't Barb said anything about the genes, it never would have led down to that line of
Right.
questioning.
Right.
No, because
Yeah.
they're going stained jeans, cleaning, garage, bleach. Oh my God, they cleaned up Teresa's blood.
Yeah.
Well,
How did you make that leap?
they had to. The crime had to occur at Stephen's property
That's right.
because of Jody and the 2 jail calls. They
Correct.
had to burn the body because they had no body, or whatever the body condition was. It was did they burn the body or did they find it burned? I don't know. 7923, the brown tarp. It's the only brown tarp in the whole entire case. All the other tarps are blue that they collected evidence on. And I just saw another report. I think I sent it to you, Susan, where it talks about the items removed from 7923 from that tarp are on a separate sheet. But anyway, so the disturbed earth search warrant, was that the retrieval of the body? Oh, and
We don't know.
then
They found bones there. We know that for sure.
We know
Yeah.
that was a blue tarp over there
Blue.
because we
You
can
saw-
see it. Yeah.
Right. But
Huge.
did they put
Huge.
everything on the brown tarp to keep it separate? Because
We
it's
don't
the
know.
only tarp in the whole entire case, only brown one. What's the easiest way to make sure you're not mixing stuff? You got one that this one is not like the others. This one just doesn't belong, right? So you know that anything coming from there, you're going to keep in a separate pile. And it's how you keep it straight without bringing too much attention to it.
Well, I mean, you, I understand, Sunshine Christina, but the fundamental problem is this. You have, I think everyone would agree that you have one thermal destruction event, one fire. Would everyone agree? If you're a murderer and you're going to get rid of a body,
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
One fire.
you're not going to go to all different parts of Wisconsin and light all
No.
these fires, right? You're
Take a
going to
chance of
burn
getting every time you move something, you can have a chance of getting caught.
and putting your own DNA on the crime scene, right?
That too.
So
that
therefore,
too.
you're going to have one fire. So here's the problem, right? And Dahan and everyone's going, what the fuck? How can you have one thermal destruction event whereby the bones have been calcined?
Like they would.
Calcined.
Yep. Like they
Which
would.
And there's only what 30% of her body.
Yep.
Her
Which
bones?
40%, something like that.
about around
40%.
40% of her bones have been found by weight.
Skeleton.
Correct? So therefore you're going, wait, the one thermal destruction event caused bones to be calcined and exposed to high heat. All the crowns of her teeth are gone, which means huge amount of heat to destroy crowns of your teeth.
Yeah,
And then you're trying to say, oh, by the way, I've got some muscle tissue here.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been burnt to a crisp. And you go, well, hold on, this can't be the same thermal destruction event, right?
That's right.
So it begs the question, where the hell did item BZ come? Don't say to me, oh, maybe part of her body was outside the fire. Are you kidding? You're trying to get rid of a body. You're gonna leave a limb just outside. Oh, don't worry about that one, Brendan. They'll never see that. You've got to be kidding. So the whole thing is fishy. Why? Because the boys went there to sift the burn pit. And what did they say? Ertl said, the guy said, does this look like a bone? And he said, if it looks like a bone, stick it in a bloody box. How on God's earth is one of the largest bone fragments and muscle tissue that was described as the size of a golf ball, right? Just 61.
That's right.
Someone decides, I'm going to pick it up, but I couldn't be bothered sticking it on the sifter. Let's just chuck it in the tarp and call it a day, boys.
Right. Didn't show it to Ertl. Say, what the hell is this? Because it looked different than the rest.
Correct.
Absolutely.
And we haven't even mentioned the whole 3302 Xander Road for sale sign, the roadblock that is never discussed in reports that
Never explained.
cordoned off, that cordoned off that location, and this all occurred before anything was found on Stephen's property.
Weird. Never explained.
Yep.
All right. We got one more question that's popped up from Kansas Oxley.
Hey,
The motivation
Kansas.
of Brenda is going to make the one hell of a footnote in the historical records of the case. Do you agree? Well, my 2 cents is I've heard that she's not interested in the case anymore. That's what I
Really?
heard. That's what I heard. I don't know. I haven't talked to her, so.
Why
I'm
would
getting
she
that-
be? He's guilty. They're
Well,
both guilty. They're in prison.
But if she's done
why
with it,
should she care?
why didn't she turn over the library that I know that she's amassed more than we have, and we've got a huge
Oh,
library.
hell no. Because she's stingy.
Very. Thoughts, Doc?
Who are we
About that?
talking about?
Brenda.
Brenda
Um,
Schuler.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
Okay, I kind of thought so, but
I mean, with the thing is this, right? We were interviewed and we're on cam, right? And it's very, very disingenuous and very asymmetric the way we were presented on the show. We were shown as a bunch of idiots who didn't know the case, except Brenda didn't realize that we spent years on the case and we had done a huge amount of work. And she tried to take me on stuff involving DNA, right? And remember when she asked me the question, "Oh, Dr. Silkman, do you think Teresa Horbach is dead?" She was expecting me to say, "No, no way, no." And I told her the exact molecular, biological reason why I believe that Teresa Horbach was deceased.
that's right.
Nothing.
I think
I told her
that
about
I think that took her by surprise.
the wind out of her sails. Here's a bunch of lunatic conspiracy theorists who think that Teresa Horbach is living a good life in Canada. And I told her straight, she's dead. Didn't like it.
Nope.
Oh, wait. Aren't these guys meant to be a lunatic fringe, a cult, a bunch of idiots? No, we had all the documents and she refused to give me the document regarding Stephen Avery's exoneration until we had to get our own.
Yep.
Right? Now, if you're trying to be equitable, fair, and share your knowledge, why not just hand it over? Why wave it in my face?
And why aren't you looking for the truth? Why isn't she looking for a truth? If she's so interested in the everything, then you have to look at everything as it is.
It is the most.
I just want to tell Jube that we're talking about convicting a murderer.
Yeah. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever been a part of. And had I known who Brenda was, I would have told her 2 words. Hi there.
Yeah, I apologize for that. I did know who Brenda was, and I guess I didn't impart enough.
But if
about
you're
that.
if you're an interviewer and you're a staunch guilter, you're already biased, correct? You already have an agenda. And we were used like the others were used for a purpose. And she went on a crusade to save that girl's soul and convert her from a truther to a guilter. So, yeah, I did what I had to do. And I'm thinking to myself, is this turned into a comedy show or something? What the hell are you guys talking about? And guys, did we actually get to talk about the case? No,
they wouldn't do it. I mean, we did, but it was a very short conversation, and none of it was included into the documentary.
None whatsoever.
She tried to convince us that Stephen was guilty, is what she did.
Oh yeah, that argument we had about the tracing that Couchet did. Oh my God, that went on for forever.
Oh no, that can't be right. That can't be right. No, I think it was just an innocent mistake. And until I told her and Ricky exactly where the curl of the hair was, that Couchet drew in, and you go, "Oh, better have a look at that one again." The guy traced. The guy traced the picture.
There's the outline for sure. Yep.
Yeah. But to me, where I felt disrespected was when Brenda spoke to Linda.
Yes.
And said, item FL, controls. You think the controls are important? And then Candace goes, see, not even the truthers care about controls.
Right.
Right.
I'm the lucky lady you weren't talking to me.
Linda didn't know about that stuff.
Right.
I feel so bad.
That's why they use Linda's comment, not yours.
That's right.
No, hell no.
Yeah, I don't know where she'll end up. We're going to get out of here. To
Yeah.
answer Kansas's question, I don't know where she'll end up. Last I heard, she's disinterested in the case. We'll see what the future holds, if depending on what the Court of Appeals does. We'll see. Anyway, yeah, let's get out of here. We've been here for over 3 hours now. So anyway, we'll pick it back up next week where we left off and continue on. I hope to be done. I want to say 2 weeks. I hope to be done with having these DCI reports pulled out, put in the correct current state order, and get Zoe to upload them to a new folder in the library. We'll see. That's a lofty goal. We'll see. Anyway, really appreciate everybody coming along. Great conversation tonight. We've been around the bend on a good many things. Some really great comments, and of course, we appreciate all of you guys that have joined us in the live chat. So keep it coming. Keep your questions coming. Stay interested. With that said, I'm going to say good night. I'm going to have some pizza. This has been a Foul Play production.